And both teams have got an opportunity this afternoon. South Bendigo to break a 4-game losing streak to the Dragons and announce themselves as a contender. Sandhurst trying to stay undefeated. Live 25 local fresh footy. Here's John Hunter.
It's crisp in the ruck for the Bloods. He'll win it. It tapped down the throat of Haddo. Haddo gave it to Jesse Collins to half forward, and they're going to go inside forward 50 through Will Allen, who's got it on right half forward flank here. He's a long way from home. Well, it looks a long way, but the small dimensions of this ground, he's going to have a shot at goal.
He will have a shot. He's a good kick at the footy.
Will Allen now. We've only gone about 10 seconds in this opening term. It will slew wide and it will sneak in for a minor score. So the first one on the board, it is one behind to South Bendigo. Sandhurst yet to score. Live 25, local fresh footy.
Couldn't ask for a better start, Chase, if you're the Bloods.
Quick, wasn't it? Straight out and straight to a key target forward. So great start.
Harry Free to kick in up at the Glencoe Street end. Just in front of the cricket nets there. Rolls onto his right boot, sends the ball wide. Had a couple of targets that he could have picked from. Mark taken by Jack Keating for Sandhurst. Kicks on the bounce to half-back. Collected nicely by Caleb Connick. He gave it away. Ball in the hands of South Bendigo. Haddo tight on the boundary line. Spears the pass to full forward. Darling runs onto it and rolls into the open goal. First of the day for the Bloods. And that is a really nice start for the red and white. 1-1-7. Sandhurst yet to score through a minute and a half in the opening term. Score sponsor Don Smallgoods is Don. Is good.
Coach, you mentioned at the start of the game just before about the press and how priority that is, the press and zones that South Bendigo can play at this ground. Chalk one goal up to that press. There was no accountability behind the football at this end, but certainly they pressed up really well and structure-wise were able to get the ball and turn it over.
Red hot start to the Bloods. Inside forward 50 with ease. They're continuing on from last week. Up they'll go in the ruck. It was crisp again for the Bloods, and we'll have a secondary stoppage as umpire Bennett crosses his arms, blow his whistle.
And is that a little bit of a change to see Luke Darling up front? I think he's played majority down back so far this year.
They'll go forward quickly through Tom Brereton, and it's slewed off the side of the boot to the wing. Tracking after the footy again was Will Allen. The boundary line wins, and 50 from home will have a ball in. Bloods in attack.
So out at right half forward, Jason, question without notice. Are we permitted to position players for interleague selection throughout the course of the afternoon?
You can, yes.
All right.
I like Ollie Morris down this end.
I'm just going to put Tom Brereton on an early watch from South Bendigo. Cal Crisp reaches up in ruck. The ball's tossed back in. Played it there from Lockie Hood. It's dragged in under the mess. Brodie Haddo, the 3 times South Bendigo best and fairest winner, interleague rep from last year. He's dragged down on the front point of the square. Crisp reaches up, battles with Collins. It's knocked down just inside defensive 50 here for the Dragons. They're going to get a free kick as well. It'll go to Jack Keating, who's got it just inside the defensive arc. He looks for an option. South with the early goal in this ball game. A couple of minutes played here at Harry Trott Oval. It's 1-1 the Bloods. Sandhurst yet to score on Graham Wright Memorial Cup Day.
Good red hot start here for the Bloods. As receiving the footy was Lockie Hood for the Dragons. He's been good early in this season. He runs and trots off and he'll go long. They'll set themselves. Tardrew was the target and the ball comes off hands over the boundary line and it goes over and we'll have a ball in. Some of their supporters getting a bit overzealous. I think that might be Mr. Antonowitz below us there, Joel.
There you go.
As in farther off?
Yes, I figured it wasn't Caden who's up the other end at full forward. Ball tossed back in. Sandhurst hasn't really had a look at it so far. Jesse Collins with a crunching tackle on Lockie Hood.
Johnny, you'd love to see the number 88 out there, wouldn't you? That's even larger than 77.
Yeah, well, he's 11. He's got me by 11, so I'd love to see it.
Looks like Swatton is going with Tardrew in the early stages here. Van Heumann kicks an absolute sack down the line. And that's been marked by Jack Keating, who's been busy early for the Dragons. Sends it inside forward 50. Maxted had 2 to beat, couldn't do so. Davis over the top, spoiled it down to the front of the contest. Bloods inside defensive 50. Good tackle from Brereton. Morris wasn't coming away with the footy, and we will have a ball up right in front of us. Dragons inside 50. Bloods with the only scorers of the game so far. They lead by 7.
Chris puts his hand to do the ruck work. He went against Tardrew of the Dragons. Secondary stoppage. Good defensive work by Tardrew. Ground level. Have a ball up. Inside forward 50 for the Dragons, only marginally inside forward 50. Crisp again, he went up against Campbell of the Dragons on that occasion. Still 40 from home. Collins tries to get his hands on the footy, then overrun it. Rolling pack, really. We'll see another stoppage. And, well, it's only 25 metres out directly in front. Dragons in attack.
Up they go. Crisp. He wins it down. Knocked out in the tackle. Swatton dives on top of it. He's got a couple wrapping him up. Ollie Morris is one of those. Still 35 out from the Sandhurst goal. The Neil Street end. Davis and Maxted standing side by side in the goal square. Crisp down behind his head. Cleverly to Zimmerman. Off to Van Humen. Nurses the kick around the body. Made it difficult for his teammate there in Hayden Geddes, who was accosted across the boundary line in front of the scoreboard. And it'll be tossed back into play. Plenty of stoppages early, Jace.
There is, and that matchup is Joel Swatton running around with Lockie Tardrew, so it looks like it's a pretty close watch as well.
I'm going to say they're going to ball it in on the 50 mark, but it's not 50. I'm going to have to reassess my distances because it's certainly the arc. It's more like 40 in my mind. I reckon I might be able to kick a goal from there, as I'm just treading water as it's going to be another stoppage. It will be a ball up. So even though we're a metre in from the 50 line, I reckon we're only 40 from home. Did that make sense? Probably did in a funny kind of way. Zimmerman sharked the ball out of the ball up. Then he goes long to half forward. He didn't really look, and he kicked it straight to the opposition in Coghlan of the Dragons.
It's a bit of a nothing kick in the end from Zimmerman. He dashed away with plenty of zip. Coghlan's kicked down the line through the hands of Cooper Smith. Picked up by Zimmerman. Little no-look hand pass was inventive, if not all that effective. Now Geddes has got a chance on the wing. Tardrew's there with him. Haddo's stepped across the boundary line by Liam Island. It'll be tossed back in. Centre of the George Street wing here at Harry Trott Oval. Bloods 1-1-7. Sandhurst yet to score. Cooper Smith and Brodie Haddo in close combat in the early stages too. That'll be a great matchup to watch throughout the afternoon. Another clearance for the Bloods coming here. Crisp got it away to Zimmerman. Kicks to half forward. Allen up on a searching lead. Bounce at his feet. Taken away for the Bloods by Connick. Handball back into trouble. Right left it behind. Big packet right half forward around the footy. Allen waits for it to come out. Swatton puts his head over it. He's dragged down. And the ball is not spilling free. And just outside the arc, so about 45 out from the South Bendigo goal. We'll have a ball up.
I think we'll just roll with arc at the moment. There's Lockie Hood getting involved also. Haddo overrun the footy. Hurry kick out of the pack by the Dragons come from Tardrew. He kicked it to a pack of players and it might come off the boot of Tom Campbell. It did. He was probably unlucky. No, I thought it might have been out of bounds on the full, Jace.
He's got lucky in the end.
I think he did get very, very lucky.
Umpire will throw it in. Perfect conditions here out at Harry Trott Oval. Isn't it great to see a footy club out here also being successful? Running out of the middle of the pack was Collins. He sharked it for the Bloods. He'll put it inside the forward arc. Also offering support now, picked up by Nitschke. He'll go to a teammate who handballs over the top. They're just sharing it around nicely. Shot at goal. Might be Allen who's put it on the boots. In fact, it was Poyser. And what a build-up there for the Bloods, albeit a minor score. So they'll go to 1-2-8. They lead. Sandhurst yet to score.
So about eight and a half gone in this opening term. Had me sold there. I thought Blake Poyser had kicked a goal. But the crowd were in our camp, I think. Smith's got it now. It's the Dragons working in from fullback. Got it from Curnow. Kicks a low footy up to half forward. Maxted out on the lead. Second grab takes the mark. 50 from home, and that's a genuine 50 for Kobe Maxted. Lays it off to the pocket. It's all South Bendigo. Reaching up was Connick. Was he contacted front on? He was. And Caleb Connick will take his kick from right in front of us, 20 metres out.
Geez, that's good ball movement from the back pocket all the way down here. That's a smart kick as well from Max there just to float it in. But Connick's work rate, as we've lauded before on this coverage, he's right down the defensive end and has managed to get a shot at goal.
So Caleb Connick, premiership player last year. 2 goals on the season from his 4 games so far. Looking for the Dragons first of the afternoon. Eases it through on the right boots and sneaks it home. Jack Fellon made his best appeal to the goal umpire that it was only behind the opposition co-coach. But that is a goal for Caleb Connick and the first for the Dragons. 1 straight 6. The Bloods 1-2-8. We played 9 minutes in the opening term. Score sponsor Jason Westcott Builder. Live 25 local fresh footy. Here's Jason Stevens.
I was going to say, special comments. So I've got a comment with regard to the goalpost. So the goalpost here at Harry Trott, extraordinarily small.
In the words of Happy Gilmore, that goal is not regulation size.
No, it's not. It's not. Does that have an impact on that set shot?
Part of their development is that they're going to get them changed.
Good.
So they're going to get them extended.
Back in the middle, Crisp is doing some good hard work in the ruck for the Bloods, but they'll win it through Nitsch. Nitschke, he goes long inside forward 50, well inside forward 50 deep. Curnow, he mops up for the Dragons. Handballs to Ireland, who stepped over the line and conceded for a minor score. 1-3-9 playing 1 goal straight. It's the Bloods at the moment.
I'll bring it in to half back. They can just easily run it out here. Pinniger, family, famous name here at Harry Trott Oval. The Pinniger family. He's turned it over here straight to Haddo, defensive side of the wing for the Bloods. Chips in short infield to Brereton, who arches the back, lowers the eyes, kicks to the edge of the 50 and finds Harvey, who then got dragged down and put a bit of mayo on that. Brock Harvey's marked right on the front edge of the square, which is about a 45-metre kick here at Harry Trott Oval, to be fair. And he looks like he likes his chances here, Jace.
Yeah, is there a little bit of a breeze that end? It seems like there might be a little bit of a breeze, but he's certainly confident from that spot.
We'll check in with Jacko in a moment. Here's Brock Harvey. He's kicked 10 goals on the season so far, coming off 50 last season. Kick is out to the right all the way. It's through for a minor score. Of course, he kicked 7 in that elimination final in 2022 against the Dragons. It is the Bloods by 4 points, 11 minutes gone. Jacko, what's the breeze doing?
There's certainly a breeze to the cricket net's end, and it's quite funny too, as we've been speaking about it, it's been picking up in the last few moments as well.
Curnow will play on from fullback. He will send it to the club room's wing. They'll set themselves back of the pack. Flew high, flew early with Smetzer. Got a lot of the footy. Umpire didn't pay the mark and goes over the boundary line. It'll be a ball in. It's
20 degrees down here at ground level 2. Great crowd, lots in front of the grandstand. Quite a few watching the netball, enjoying a beautiful Saturday afternoon of footy.
Sunscreen on, Jacko?
Indeed.
As it'll be the Dragons, they'll come through the middle now through Wilkinson. The handball was severe. It was, intended target, didn't quite hit it. Now he's got enough time now to run onto it with Cooper. Cooper of the Dragons, short pass. He stubbed the ground. He was in the direction of Robinson. Now they're on 50. Hurried kick come out of the pack from by Pinniger at the top of the defensive square. A good mark was taken by Poyser of the Bloods.
Now it's Tate Poyser. Now to Blake Poyser, who comes off left half or with a left half back, kicks to the edge of the defensive 50. Great work from Curnow, knocked it down. Then the kick inside the arc, found Schmetzer. Terrific work from Bryce Curnow. Threw it on the boot, and Schmetzer has marked. Jackson Saunders just about standing on the mark here. He's going to chip in field in the end. Off to Keating. He's had a bright start to this game. Eyes the sticks and leaves it away to the left for a minor score. 1-1 plays 1-4. Bloods ahead. We've played 12.5 in the opening term. Score sponsor, Bendigo City Framers.
I had to manoeuvre out of Schmetzer's way there. I was on the line of his kick, but he unselfishly laid it off, but missed opportunity for the Dragons.
Jack Fallon will kick it in for the Bloods, as he's been doing it all last week as well, Jason. So that's his role this season, it appears.
Good ball user, so it's probably smart to have it in his hands.
On the left, goes beyond the arc. Oh, Mark was dropped by Van Humen. He lets Tardrew in the gate, handball to Hood. Hood's kick was smothered. Bloods defensively might get away with it. On the end of the handball was Davis into the middle, but it's going to come back the other way. And slowing things down now is Keating for the Dragons. Short pass to Curnow, and he's smack bang in the middle here at Harry Trott Neal Street.
Yeah, he's facing up as Bryce Curnow on the centre wicket area. And now they move it short, the Dragons. Lockie Wright. And the best in the first 3 weeks for Sandhurst. Nurses the kick inside the 50. Campbell just ended up going the hip and shoulder into the back of Anthony Zimmerman. Didn't intend to take the mark in the end, and the Bloods weren't too happy with that treatment. Zimmerman's been busy in the early stages for South Bendigo. Kicks outside the defensive 50. Brooks should have done better with the ball in the air. Darling took it at ground level. Flicked the handball over the top to Brereton, who arches the back and dashes in field. Finds a teammate on the back edge of the centre square. That's Will McCaig. He comes across the ground. Nally and Rustbridge collide in mid-air. Rustbridge then grabs the footy. He's jumped upon by James Coughlin. Great tough stuff from the both of them. And we'll have a ball up in the centre of Harry Trott Oval.
Bit of an arm wrestle here. Enjoying the contest. They'll go up in the ruck again. Crisp doing the ruck work this afternoon for the Bloods. Will have a secondary stoppage. He hit it straight to Hood of the Dragons, who couldn't find space. And we'll do it all again. Up they'll go in the ruck. It'll be Crisp who wins the tap again. See your players around this footy. ends up with Curnow on the end of a handball for the Dragons. He sends it up the chimney. Still 50 from home. Dragons, they'll get out here if they're good enough. Over the top, it was Stagg, did well inside. Forward 50, he's looking for Robinson. Still at the top of the square. Stagg backed up his own ball. He found Morris. Morris will handball it off. Shot at goal, and it is a minor score. And good build-up for the Dragons. They go to 8. They trail South Bendigo 10. Live 25, local fresh footy.
Two terrific and very unselfish touches there by Nick Stagg. He, through sheer work ethic, worked the ball from half forward inside 50 to about 30 metres out, and very creative, almost set up a goal for the Dragons.
Yeah, it's a good call out, Jacko. Poyser will take it. Didn't score in the end, so still that 3-point margin. Blake Poyser kicks long outside the defensive 50. It's coming back in here through Maxted to Keating, who was pushed as he kicked. Floats out of bounds on the full. This time Fallon will get a look at this one from fullback for the Bloods. Retrieves the footy from under the fence. Joel Peterson, John Hunter, Jason Stevens and Jackson Saunders with you. Live 25, local fresh footy at Harry Trott Oval. Halfway through this opening term, the Bloods lead by 3 points. Just the 2 goals on the board between these two teams. Here's Jake Rusbridge. Came in from Bridgewater in the off-season. He nurses a wide kick toward Blake Poyser. Made it work in the end. Keating worried him out for the Dragons. Picked up by Tardrew. Absorbs the contact. Handball to Stagg. Neat kick inside the 50. Finds Hood just the distance. And Lockie Hood's got a 35-metre set shot from smack bang in front.
You can tell that Sandhurst are struggling with the smaller ground. It's taking a while for them to adjust. I'm on the arc of 50, which we know isn't a 50-metre line here, and I feel very close to goal.
See what Lockie Hood can do with this. 3 goals on the season so far. He's got a shot of 35 metres directly in front. Ambles in and strikes it beautifully. Lockie Hood puts Sandhurst 3 points to the good. It is 2-1-13 to 1-4-10. We've played 17 minutes in the opening term. Score sponsor Parsons Towing, Live 25, local fresh footy.
Probably some red lights going off down in the South Bendigo coaches box down there at the moment. So first 8 to 10 minutes, South Bendigo right on top on the outside, winning enough of the ball on the inside, but also really on top on the outside. This last 5 minutes, Sandhurst is well and truly on top on the outside. So if Sandhurst gets on top on the outside, it can be a long day.
Down at the graveyard, it's the Dogs, Gisborne leading Castlemaine by 11 points. Up they'll go in the ruck here at Harry Trott. Making a path goes Collins for the Bloods. He'll spread it wide. They're getting a lot of the footy here, the Bloods. They'll share it around. There will be a long kick to half forward. Not far from the boundary line. We're about 10, 20 metres in, and it'll be a free kick. It'll go the way of Josh Nishke.
So Nishke, who comes with all kinds of experience from Kerrang, turns it over, scooped up by Cooper Smith, comes through the middle of the ground. Schmetz is on a high, searching lead, looks inside the 50. Oh, Connick worked back toward goal, took the mark, handball off to Tardrew, throws it on the boot and kicks another. That's 3 in a row for the Hurst. And they've really found their groove halfway through this opening term. 18 played. It's Sandhurst 3-1-19. South Bendigo 1-4-10. Score sponsor Aussie Disposals. Live 25. Local fresh footy. Here's Jason Stevens.
Caleb Connick on the wing. We lauded his football ability last year, and he's only getting better and better. His work rate's fantastic, and they've just got the confidence to kick the ball up in the air to a driving wingman. It's a prototype for that attacking wing.
3 unanswered goals now for Sandhurst in 8 minutes. Tardrew with 53 touches last week.
Allen goes into the ruck now for the Bloods to give Crisp a hand. As hitting the back hard there was Brereton. He's been pretty good in this opening term, but the Dragons will win it out of the middle of the game again. But it goes up 60 and forward about 10. It bounced off Jesse Collins' head, and it was a good old-fashioned falcon, and we'll have a stoppage on left half forward. Dragons in attack. They lead this one at the moment by 9 points. Live local footy. Live 25, local fresh footy.
Scotty Bennett's picked out a free kick. It's going to Collins. So Seb Collins from the centre of the ground. Hands it off to Stagg. He lashes a kick inside the 50. Coming up to meet it was Wilkinson. Came 50 for the Dragons this afternoon for him. Brereton handballs off to Hare, who comes down the line. It's a neat kick. And he finds Will Allen, defensive side of the clubroom's wing here at Harry Trott Oval. Kick up toward Darling on the bounce. Handball back to Allen along the ground to Hare, who's under pressure. Got caught by Wilkinson. Umpire says mine. Right half forward for the Hearst. 65 out from their goal. They've kicked 3 on the bounce. And they lead by 9 points.
In front of a big crowd here out at Harry Trott in perfect conditions.
Good crowd, isn't it?
Yeah, there's an atmosphere in here. Just treading water. The ball, it's stagnant in the middle of a pack. Umpire will let it go. We're 60 from home. Picked up there, feeding it back was Robinson of the Dragons to a teammate who sends it long to the goal line, but it's punched over the line. It was good defensive work by Tate Poyser, and we'll have a ball in.
Given the geography of the ground, Sandhurst have almost got to kick it to the top of the square each time they go inside 50. I think they've realised that in these opening minutes of this opening term, 20 minutes in.
Tate Poyser playing on Tom Campbell, former Sandhurst under-18 player. Tate Poyser, that's why it was expensive for the Bloods from a points perspective. Ricochets back from the throw-in to Davis of South Bendigo. Off to Haddo, blast a ball into the centre of the ground. And a terrific mark. The Dragons will be able to mop this up. Lockie Wright has pulled it out of the air. He's going to chip it short and wide. Continue to build it up with some real patience. 3 goals in a row here for Sandhurst. Back to Wright. Centre of Harry Trott Oval, just to the side of the centre square. Now he looks inside the arc. Schmetzer's there. Coming across was Pinniger as well. Ball on the deck inside forward 50 for the Dragons. Diving on it was English. He was wrapped up. 35 out from the Sandhurst goal. We'll have it tossed in the air.
Searching for another goal here in red time here at Harry Trott. The Dragons are doing well. Crisp back in the ruck for the Dragons. He put it down the throat of Robinson of the Dragons, who go round the body. One-handed grab by Campbell, and he's taken it with his right hand, and he's been paid the mark. I didn't see any infractions there. Jace?
No infractions, but I thought he played on after he did take the mark.
I think he thought he played on as well.
It definitely looks like play on from ground level.
Looked like the umpire had half signalled it too, Jacko.
Correct. I think the umpire was very charitable, and perhaps Campbell has a second career in acting because he fooled the umpires beautifully.
It was a one-handed grab. He was just getting his balance. That's all he was doing. Let's see what he can do for the Dragons here. He kind of poked at the footy, and you could tell he wasn't going to kick it, Jace, because he just didn't kick straight through the footy, so extends the lead by 10 points to the Dragons.
Maybe he should have played on.
Maybe he should have.
So 3-2 plays 1-4. 22 minutes gone in this opening term. Joel Peterson, John Hunter, Jackson Saunders, Jay Stevens with you. Bendigo under 19 interleague coach in special comments this afternoon. Zach Hare, another who does some of his finest work here during cricket season. Whacks it straight up the middle. Crisp was his target. Couldn't pull in the mark. Roving it nicely there was Darcy Mills. And it'll be ball up. Centre of the ground here at Harry Trott Oval. Bloods and the Dragons. Dragons by 10 points. High up and under kick from Keating for Sandhurst. Puts it just inside the 50. Punched away from Maxted. Robinson up to meet it. Rove nicely by Hood. That's a brilliant kick. That is outstanding vision from Lockie Hood. Wheeled around on the right boot. Chiselled a 30-metre kick across the 50. The mark taken by Charlie Robinson. He's got a 35-metre kick directly in front.
He's having some season, Lockie Hood. I know he gets under the radar of Lockie Tardrew in that midfield, but he's having a fantastic season.
He's a contender for the $100 voucher, our sponsor from Bendigo City Framers, I'd say.
Just amazingly early on that call, Johnny. Here's Charlie Robinson, who's missed that one to the right-hand side. 11-point margin the way of the Dragons, 3-3 to 1-4. 23 minutes gone in the opening term. Score sponsor Parsons Towing, Live 25, local fresh footy.
Well, that's a good prize, Joel, to win, so we may as well...
It is a good prize. Might as well pump it up.
Pump it up now. But you're right, Jay, so I've seen him a couple of times this season already, and he's just influential right down back and then up forward as well.
They're right on top at the moment, the Dragons, Jace.
Yeah, they are. It's turned big time after the first 10 minutes.
Hare plays on from fullback for the Bloods. You'll send it long and wide. Comes off hands of his teammate in Smith. And we'll have a ball in.
Probably a good sign too. It's not the big names that have turned it for Sandhurst. It's some of the lesser names that have actually turned the game around.
Crisp will do the ruck work now against Collins of the Dragons. Crisp doing the majority of the ruck work this afternoon. Allen relieved for a short while, but he's doing most of it. Haddo, a little toe poke, put it in the path of Zimmerman. Back to Haddo. Haddo retreats and gives it by hands to Collins. Collins sends it wide, hard up against the boundary line. is Geddes. He stepped over the line and will ball it in. True centre wing position. It's an 11-point margin. It's the Dragons. They're just leading in red time here. Live 25, local fresh footy.
And one factor we haven't spoken about, Jace, is no Isaiah Miller for South, which is really significant in terms of their defence.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. That's a key defender out. That hurts.
Interleague level key defender as well.
Absolutely.
Former co-coach. He's getting around in a moon boot over there for the Bloods, so hopefully he's not too far away. He's Haddo, who wins the free kick. Floats the kick out to Jesse Collins, who kicks a wobbler inside the forward 50. It's off a couple of pairs of hands. Then it ends up flying shot at goal from Smith. Bounces on its end, straight up in the air. Nally tries to rush it through. Free tries to rush it through. Eventually Wright says, boys, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. And steps it across the behind line for a minor score. 10-point game. Dragons ahead. We've played 25 in the opening term. Live 25 local fresh footy. Round 5 in the BFNL.
Wright plays on from fullback for the Dragons. He'll send it to the club room's wing. Hugs the boundary line. It's a 50-metre ball. Maxed it at the back of the pack. Sharking the footy, Campbell for the Dragons, but just couldn't grab it in time. It's right in front of the coach's box. We'll have a ball in true centre wing.
Seems unique. Sandhurst wants to use that clubroom side all the time, and South Bendigo wants to use the opposite side.
So, yeah, good point there, Jason. Who knows best? Is it the home side or is it the visitors? Time will tell. As the umpire will throw it in, it'll be Crisp again winning the ruck work. On the end of a handball was Jesse Collins. He's getting his hands on the footy a bit for the Blood. Sends it to half forward, but rebounding ball now on the end of a handball was Morris. Morris of the Dragons decides to come back inboard. It's a little bit messy. Seb Collins grabbed the footy, and he's been pinged, has he? I think so. And it was there. It'll be a free kick to the Bloods.
So taking it was Geddes. Off to Haddo. Haddo low inside the forward 50. Looking for Antonovich. Coughlin right there with him. Mopped up by Curnow in defence for the Dragons. Kick goes wide. It was a little bit too wide from Bryce. Not quite. It didn't hit a target, but it bounced just inside the chalk. So it'll be tossed back in from in front of the South Bendigo coaching bench on the Adam Cornish wing on the outer side.
How high is he? Have a look at him.
He's levitating over there. Here's our man doing some of his finest work behind the lens. Bloods get the clearance. Haddo off to Geddes, to Zimmerman. 55 from home. Centering kick. Bouncing, rolling ball away from Harvey into the right forward pocket. Tracks it down. Hand pass goes looking for Brooks. Pinched by Connick, who flicks it back the other way for Sandhurst. Straight back to Harvey. Hard up against the boundary line. High centering kick. Zimmerman came in from the side. So did Antonovich. Roving at ground level was Allen, and he's jagged it through. Nice work low down from the big man. And Will Allen, he gets his first and the Blood second and cuts it back to a 5-point game. South Bendigo 2-4-16. It is Sandhurst 3-3-21. We've played 27 minutes in the opening term. Score sponsor Don Smallgoods. Is Don is good. Live 25, local fresh footy.
And it was 26 minutes between goals. Bit of a disagreement going on at the moment between Nick Stagg and also South Bendigo's Tom Brereton. So they're exchanging a few words. It's fizzled out now at the Neil Street end.
I'm not sure Nick Stagg's found many opposition players who've agreed with him along the journey.
Yeah, he's a competitor, that's for sure. As up they'll go in the ruck. It'll be Collins who won it on that occasion. Zimmerman swooped on the ball for the Bloods, taps it in front of him on the wing. He shovels it out in the direction of Zach Hare. In the long sleeves this afternoon, on the right, goes round the body, and he kicked it straight to Lockie Wright of the Dragons across half-back.
You got 2-5-17, just as a matter of housekeeping, or 2-4-16?
Yes, no, I had 2-5-17. I correct.
4-point ball game.
I corrected myself, Joel. I thought...
Trust your instinct. Trust your instinct. Dragons come off half-back here with a long high kick. Tardrew the target. Van Humen came over the top. Rove nicely by Swatton. Morris with the rundown tackle on Van Humen. Forces the turnover. Smith now for Sandhurst. Inside the 50. Davis can't mark. Maxted picks it up. Goes to ground and was taken high. And a free kick to the Sandhurst man. 25 out. Alex Davis did everything right there, just couldn't stick the mark. And now Kobe Maxted's got a chance to make it a 10-point game once again.
As soon as you go to ground, lose your feet in that type of contest, you're out of it. And that's, unfortunately, just lost his footing, and Maxted is going to capitalise.
Interleague play last year, Kobe Maxted, 33 goals in 2024, 6 on the season so far. As we said earlier, he's played a little bit forward, a little bit back. He is up front today. He tries to steer it through, and he has just. He and the goal umpire doing a fair bit of leaning work. And Sandhurst have got 4 on the board. 4-3-21 to 2-5-17. We've played 29 minutes in the opening term. Score sponsor Bendigo City Framers. Live 25 local fresh footy.
I'm going to blame those small goalposts at this end. Every set shot at this end has been a poke. There hasn't been a player that's kicked through a set shot at this end of the ground, our broadcast end. So it's something to do with those small goalposts.
I've got a theory that at the Glencoe Street end, the left-hand goalpost isn't straight either. Have a look at it. I reckon, like, from the padding upward, it goes on a lean. It looks like one of the trees at that end.
Down at the graveyard, it's the Dogs by 12 points over Castlemaine, almost quarter time.
Just moving away from that topic, Johnny.
Yeah, I'll
trying to
call
get some sense in the broadcast.
As it's a hurried kick forward for the Dragons. Hair competitive across left half back for the Bloods, but emerging with the footy will be Smith. Smith goes long. Wilkinson, it hit him on the chest. He had a fair piece of it, but it goes over the line, 15 metres out from goal that the Dragons are attacking. No, I like your observations, Joel. I'll just let you run with it.
It was Nick Stagg's pressure on Jack Fallon there for South Bendigo in the middle that helped get the ball inside 50 for the Dragons.
I'll get my own material, Joel, so I'll work on it.
Just hope Jacko was going to come in with some support for me there, and it was not forthcoming. Ball on the deck inside forward 50 here for the Dragons. Hood got it off to Schmetzer, who steps through the pack, clears a path, snaps and misses. He liked it off the boot. Goal umpire didn't agree. 4-4-28 to 2-5-17, so it's an 11-point game once more, closing in on quarter time here at Harry Trott Oval.
Yes, I'm sorry, Joel, I left you out to dry there today. Speaking of which, lovely day for clothes to dry on the clothesline.
Oh, my goodness.
I knew that's where that was
Get
going.
some sense into him, Jason, please.
That's beyond me.
I knew that's where that was going.
Fallon for the Dragons kicks it in right in front of us. We're in the old scoreboard. Really good position to watch the footy. The man with it in his hands is Cody Brooks for the Bloods. He kicks it 45 metres. Oh, nice contested mark at the back of the pack. It was the Bloods through. It might be Chris that's got his hands on the footy there. A jumping jack. He'll handball laterally. You go to Haddo. Haddo go long to half forward. It go to the back of the pack. Curnow. Handball over the top to Mills of the Dragons. Short pass. It was one of those daisy cutters. So it's with the Dragons on true centre wing. Pinnager as the siren sounds here for an entertaining term. 4-4-28. Sandhurst, they lead 2-5-17 Bloods.
Yeah, around 31 and a half minutes that opening term, so it certainly was long. Not a lot of goals kicked, but after South Bendigo kicked the first, it was the Dragons who kicked the next 3. They traded goals to end the term. But as Johnny said, it's an 11-point lead to the Dragons here at the home of South Bendigo. 4-4-28 to 2-5.
Wings, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. Quick score, Gisborne 3-3-21 leading Castlemaine 1-1-7 in the only other game today.
Good stuff, Jacko.
First week of round 5 in the Bendigo Football Netball League. It's the Bloods. They trail by 11 points. Live 25 local fresh footy. Here's Joel Peterson.
They started brightly, South Bendigo. They've done so in the second term here. Haddo to Collins. They get the clearance. A bouncing ball after it's skied in the air. Swatton rips it out of the contest. Handball goes looking for Haddo, who arches the back, finds some space, kicks to the pocket, looking for Harvey. He's got it. He's pulled it in just inside the boundary line. Terrific mark. He's going to put the eyes up. Kick to Antonovich. Floats over his head. Bounces off the knee of Ireland to Curnow in the right back pocket. The Dragons can try and clear this away. Mills with a scrambling kick outside the defensive 50. Bounces through the pack. Tumbles out in front of the scoreboard. It'll be tossed back in.
Quarter time out at North Bendigo. North Bendigo lead 4-4 to Huntley 1-1.
And the Loddon Valley Football League, Newbridge 4-5-29 over Calival 4-2-26, and Morong 5-4-34 over Serpentine 2-2-14.
Bloods in attack. We're outside the 50 arc, which is not 50. We're probably a legitimate 50 from goal, as we'll have another stoppage of ball up. Umpire will throw it up. Up they'll go in the ruck again. Crisp tapped it to the back of the pack, and unlucky there. It came off Stagg's ankle, and he's kicked it out of bounds on the fault. And they'll give Haddo the opportunity to bring it forward for the Bloods. He goes inside the forward arc. His target was Antonowitz, and Tananelli probably got offended with. He was offended. He was, and he'll get a free kick for, what, a charge, one too high and all the above there, Joel.
Yeah, I think he could have picked from a number of categories there on that occasion. Tananelli, good player, this bloke. Another in the long sleeves this afternoon. Kicks long up the line. Terrific pack mark from Maxted. He was strong there, was Kobe. Stood his ground, takes it and kicks up the line, looking for Campbell. Slap back the other way toward Brereton for South Bendigo. He's run down in a crunching tackle, but it was a little bit overzealous. And then Andy Van Humen letting Jack English know all about that. So a free kick at halfback here for the Bloods, who can send it back the other way. Long kick up toward Allen. He's the target of the kick. A little bit of holding on between he and Nally, and Will Allen's given away the free. So Tanner Nally will take it at right halfback for the Dragons.
In the quarter-time game at Bridgewater, Sharp has got 4, so it was 7-1-43 to Pyramid Hill 4-1-25. So Sharpie in for a big day. In perfect conditions, one would suggest.
Good day for Rick Ladson. I was watching his under-10 St. Teresa's team earlier today as well, and they had a massive win.
Free spread it wide for the Dragons for Morris on half forward, and then he sends it inside the forward arc. And what a grab that was that has been taken by Campbell. And
doesn't mind the one-hander.
Doesn't need 2 hands, does he? He's done this twice.
He's on a pretty tight angle compared to last time. Let's see what he does with this footy. Should he have played on this time as well, Jace? Because he certainly missed the last one.
He looks more comfortable at this end.
Providing a target up forward, Campbell. I like the way he goes about it. Let's see what he does with this footy. It'll be a good kick from there. It's a tight angle. It will not be a goal. It goes to the goal line and over it goes off hands for a minor score. So that takes the score to 29 Dragons. They are leading South Bendigo 17 live, 25 local fresh footy.
3 minutes played here in this second term at Harry Trott Oval. Great to have you with us right throughout Central Victoria, wherever you might be listening, and of course on the FNL live stream game of the day as well. Haddo's got it in the left back pocket for South. Well and truly hemmed in. Sandhurst defending the ground really well. They had all the play in the early going to the Bloods. And Sandhurst have really turned the screws since then. Nice contested mark from Crisp. Ball floated into his path. Haddo's drifted down the ground. Sells a little bit of candy to get around Mills and then hands it off to Collins. He drives a low kick toward half forward, and this is the first sighting we've had of Caden Antonovich this afternoon. Takes the mark on his chest, kicks inside the 50. Harvey absorbs some contact, but it fell away to Harry Free, who just blasted to vacant territory on the clubroom side. Bounces out toward the boundary line. English pushed past it. Blake poises up to meet it for South Bendigo. Big pack around the footy. Fallon's there as well. No one can take clean possession. And we'll have a ball up on the centre of the clubroom's wing. It's the Dragons by 2 goals. We've played 4.5 minutes in the second term.
Quarter time at North Central. Donald 3 behinds trail Charlton 6-1. Charlton are no good either, are they, this season? So what does that say about Donald? As the scores come to hand all across Central Victoria. As here at Harry Trott at 17 playing 29 at Sandhurst leading this game as they'll go inside forward 50 along the boundary line. Wasn't a very effective bit of play, just shuffled along the line before it got there, Jace, inside forward 50.
He did well to sort of take the ball away from the contest. He's got a free kick, Ollie Morris.
So Morris, he'll go to the top of the square. They'll set themselves ground level. Soccering off the ball there was Davis of the Bloods. They'll clear it off half back. He'll pick it up now and have another go at a little socket attempt. Might cough it up. Island at ground level. Offering support there was Nelly. Nelly, a left footer that goes inside the forward arc. Here under pressure for the Bloods. Dishes it off. Whistle. And it will be a free kick. And who's it going to go, Joel? Let's go to the Bloods.
And my man Tommy Brereton.
Tommy Brereton has got it and will leave a little bit of pressure in that back half.
So Brereton comes across the defensive 50 to Blake Poyser. Back at the Bloods for a few seasons now after plying his trade in the Ammos and a couple of other competitions in Melbourne. Provides a little bit of dash off half-back. Does the redhead. Now Swatton. He's got it in line with the back edge of the centre square. Wants to come across the ground to the George Street side. Wonderful kick, great vision. Finds Hare, who just had to stand like he was accepting an outfield catch. On, he's turned it over, Zach Hare. That's a shocking kick from the skipper. Straight down the throat of Lockie Hood. He moves it on by foot to Nick Stagg. I love this possession transition game, Sandhurst. Stagg now off to Connick, who's drifted down the ground. Floats a kick inside the arc. Davis right there with Campbell, who went with 2 hands. That's why he didn't mark it. Now Fallon comes off half-back for South Bendigo.
Yeah, they won't muck around here, the Bloods. I'll spread it. I'll go on across to the opposite side wing in McCaig. McCaig now come in board looking for Harvey. Harvey had to work Delivery is not like it was last week, Jason. They've coughed up again. It's another turnover. Stagg handballs it to Pinniger. Pinniger will go inside the forward arc. Bouncing footy defensively. Rushbridge, he will clean up, mop up nicely, gives it to a teammate who bangs it to the outer side wing, and he hits up Will Allen, who marks it on the chest. It might be out of bounds on the full, is it? It will. It'll go the other way, and it's a Dragons free kick, and it'll go the way of Lockie Wright.
There was a very nervous spectator there near the timekeeper's box, or the interchange steward's box, with Will Allen just charging straight at the boundary fence. Great tackle from Will McCaig, and he's won a free kick back for the Bloods from the loose ball. A little bit of push and shove with Maxted after the fact. And so McCaig came back into the team last week, played 12 senior games last season. This game 3 for him so far this year. Played round 1 and last week. Zimmerman. They build it up off half-back. Fallon's kick down the line. Floats over the head of the pack. Nelly chases it out toward the boundary line and steps it over and across just outside the forward arc for South Bendigo in front of the netball courts. It'll be tossed back in. Looks like it's a tough day on the netball courts for the Bloods. Down 42-11 at half-time by the look of that. Having a better time of it on the footy field, but they trail by 2 goals into this second term. We've played 8 minutes.
Umpire will throw it in. Bloods will look to build inside forward 50. On the end of the handball was Nitschke. He goes long to the back of the pack though. Dragons turnover. Lockie Wright retreats further. Gives it to Ireland. Ireland now a long kick. Target is Wilkinson. Didn't bounce. Well, it bounced nicely for Mills. Mills is away. One bounce. Handball inside to Hood. Hood now sells some candy. A little kick over the top. He's got a running Maxted. Maxted will slow things down and on a pretty tight angle. Now he decides to go. He's got a lead on. He honours it. And he hits up Campbell, who ran straight at him, and a shot at goal, Jay. So promising build-up.
Yeah, it was, and it's this defensive work rate of Sandhurst. There's always the ability to get a player back. It was Smetzer that intercepted an Antonowicz pass about 10 minutes ago in this contest, and again, then there's extra numbers back behind the ball. Their defence is setting up their offence.
Campbell, he's had a few looks at it this afternoon. He just hasn't been able to convert. Let's see what he does with this footy. It's long, it's high, and straight over the goal umpire's hat. So he pops it through for his first of the afternoon. That takes it to 5-5-35. They lead South Bendigo 2-5-17. Score sponsor, Aussie Disposals, Live 25, local fresh footy.
He kicked 5 goals last week, did Campbell, against Kangaroo Flat. Cross from Wedderburn this season to the Dragons. That was just the second scoring shot for the quarter, in fact. So almost 10 minutes, and that's the first goal that's been kicked in this second term.
I said, Jason, supply to Brock Harvey. It's just not there this afternoon. And to Antonowicz, he's been quiet as well.
No, I think Sandhurst's defence goes under the radar in Bendigo footy. It's elite.
A very astute defensive team, this Dragon side. They're making South Bendigo work for it at the moment, and it's happening all in the middle. Tardra gets absolutely crunched by McCaig after he got rid of the football. And then it's a ball up just forward of centre for South Bendigo. They kicked a goal in the first minute, then kicked a goal the 26th minute, and haven't really troubled the scorers too much either side of that. Inside forward 50, they've got a chance here. Nitschke, Swatton dives on top of it. They all fire in on top of him. And we'll have a ball up 40 metres out from the Bloods goal, the Neil Street end here at Harry Trott Oval. Allen does the ruck work this time for South Bendigo. Swatton ran into a teammate, dragged to ground by Connick. In fact, it's Collins who pulls up Joel Swatton, the 2 former Maryborough teammates. And we'll have another ball up inside forward 50 for the Bloods.
20 from goal. Up they'll go in the ruck again. Collins doing the ruck work there from the Dragons. A hurry kick out of the pack. It goes 50 metres up, and good defensive play by Ireland, who punched it over. And none better defensively, Jace, than Ireland. He's been a good player for a long time as well.
Yeah, he is, and he's their anchor, isn't he? He's always the last, most of the time, the last one back, and yeah, really trustworthy.
And you've got goalkeeper here, Lockie Wright, standing on the line, so they're set up. You've got Curnow, 15 from goal. So Haddo, hurried little kick. It didn't go anywhere. Allen tried to offer support, but Wilkinson comes on behalf of the Dragons, tries to make a path and can't. And 38 metres from goal for the Bloods will have a ball up.
Very good. Very, very specific.
38, you think?
Excellent. No, you're a good judge. I'll take that on.
That's on the line.
11 minutes gone in this second term. Here's Collins. Kick off half back for the Dragons. It bounces out toward the boundary line. It'll be tossed back in.
I can step it out for you at half time, Johnny, to be sure.
Sort of got an inbuilt laser level in his head, I reckon, Jacko. He's seems like he's pretty spot on, our man. He tossed back in here. Joel Peterson, John Hunter, Jason Stevens with you in special comments, and Jackson Saunders on the boundary this afternoon, live 25. Local fresh footy, South Bendigo and Sandhurst, and it's Sandhurst they lead by 3 straight kicks. Up and under the ball, ricochets. It's slapped out toward the boundary line for the Bloods by Nitschke. Zimmerman lost his feet out along the chalk, and again we'll have a toss back in right half forward, about 55 out from the Bloods goal.
In front of the netball courts here at Harry Trott Oval. Umpire will throw it in. Up they'll go in the ruck. Caught deep was Collins, but did well for the Dragons. Now off half back. They're going to cop it up here, the Bloods. Goes to Tardrew. Tardrew runs, tucked it underneath his arms. He goes, shielding his arm. There was Maxted. It clean bowled 2 players and goes deep inside forward 50 now. A hurried soccer off the ground goes towards the line. I think it was a defensive kick, in fact, and it will be a minor score. So that takes it to 36, playing 17 live 25 local fresh footy.
Alex Davis would have been desperately hoping that ball made it through then. His hair brings it back in, finds Jesse Collins. Plenty of experience that this man brings to this South team. Grunt around the middle, been a good player in this region for a long time. Tardrew coming over the top of Nitschke, picks it off for the Hurst. And they can make something happen going inside forward 50. Keating, low kick, top of the goal square. Who's he got? Crisp floating back, takes a good mark for the Bloods. An intercepting mark. Hands off to Collins in the right back pocket. His kick's a neat one and finds Blake Poyser, who's 40 out from his defensive goal.
Poyser just weighing up his options. He hasn't got a lot on offer. Then he'll go hug the boundary line. And he's hit up, looks like Antonowicz has floated a long way up the ground. Haven't seen a lot of him this afternoon after a dominance last week at the Camp Reserve. So they'll share it around in the back half. The Bloods, they'll work it out to the opposite side. Nice pick up at the ankles there was Brooks. Brooks will come inboard. They're trying to be aggressive here, the Bloods. They just can't make a path. Handball goes wide. It's McCaig. McCaig will now go round the body. Crisp is the target on true centre wing. Lockie Wright jumped high, jumped early from behind and took a really strong mark on the true centre wing position for the Dragons.
He's been good today, has Lockie Wright. He comes down the line and finds Connick, who also started brightly. Goal in that opening term for Caleb Connick. Drops it on the right boot, and he's picked out Brodie Haddo, who got crunched after the fact by Kobe Maxted as well. Bendigo interleague teammates from last season, those two. And Haddo does not see anything that he likes. He looks rather frustrated there as he was bereft of options. Kicks down the line to Smith, takes it off hands, turns it over immediately by hand to Hood, who hooks it around the body inside the forward 50. That's well judged back there by Rusbridge for the Bloods. To Andy Van Humen, who had all of last year wrecked by injury and back in the team for South Bendigo last week. He comes now to Collins. Dangerous kick. Finds Van Humen, who's still at centre-half back.
They seem stuck across half-back here, the Bloods, don't they? They're going from one switch to the other, trying to make a path through Brooks. Brooks now will go over the top. Will they get out here? They're always under pressure. It was Hare, ended up on the end of a chain of handballs, and now at ground level he's pushed over the line. McKay, he got a decent old shove. And in the end, it'll be a ball in 60 from home, across half forward for the Dragons.
It's extraordinary they're able to put that pressure on Sandhurst at the moment. So they're outnumbered at the contest, but they're able to put pressure on.
Doing a great job of it at the moment. And you go, 119 interleague coach Jason Stevens with you in special comments this afternoon. Lockie Hood dives on top of the footy. There's a free kick being plucked out of there by Tommy Brereton for South Bendigo. Bloods haven't scored since the 26-minute mark of that second term. We're now 16 through, well, the first term. We're 16 through the second. Haddo, target of the kick, did his own roving, got it off to Collins, kicks inside the 50. Darling underran it. And the ball will bounce and trickle and roll out of play in the left forward pocket for South Bendigo at the Neil Street end, where it'll be tossed back in. 5-6-36 Sandhurst, 2-5-17 the Bloods. Sandhurst have kicked 5 of the last 6 in the ball game after the Bloods got the first in the opening minute.
Umpire will throw it in. We've got a whistle. In fact, it's asking the boundary umpire to throw it back in and come in a little bit.
In A-grade netball, it's Sandhurst 48, leading South Bendigo 32.
Umpire throws it in now. Back of the pack there. Coughlin handballs over the top to Keating of the Dragons. He'll spread it wide to the outer side wing. The ball just sits up. Pinniger did well for the Dragons, but might cough it up. It's a turnover for the Bloods. Can they bring it back the other way? Crisp probably went at it one-handed. Rustbridge offers support. Can't get the footy out. And just forward of centre, the Bloods in attack will have a ball up.
And at Gardner Reserve, it's Gisborne leading 4-4-28 over Castlemaine 2-3-15.
So off the pack, the Dragons able to kick it forward. Schmetzer ripped it out of the hands of Van Humen for the Dragons. Kick ricochets and bounces inside the forward 50 off hands. Hares up to meet it for the Bloods. Does well, attacks the footy with some real vigour. Gets it away to Brooks. Brooks' kick to the edge of the 50. Bouncing ball out the back. Harvey's in the race. Back there is Free, who did well in the end. Handball out toward Mills. Couldn't keep it in. And a throw in at the junction of the 50 in the boundary line. And I hate to disappoint the South Bendigo netball supporters, but Jacko's looking at the wrong scoreboard. It's 50-16 in the A-grade netball. I think the A-res was 48-32 the way of the Dragons. So having a tough go of it at the moment. That South Bendigo A-grade team against a very, very good Sandhurst team. We know that for sure. Ball will be tossed up here as Scotty Bennett throws it aloft across the 50 for the Bloods.
Crisp in the ruck now. He's doing well this afternoon against Collins. The ball spill wide to Connick. He overruns the footy. Keating got, in fact, it was Wilkinson, got dealt with severely as a pack of players dive on top of the footy. At the bottom of the pack is Jack Fallon for the Bloods, the co-coach. We'll have a ball up. We're just outside the forward arc now for the Bloods. Crisp tries to tap it. It looked like a set play there that didn't come off. He was looking for Haddo, and we'll have another stoppage right on the arc line. Jason?
Free kick, dangerous tackle.
Right. Was it a sling, was it, or is it?
He paid the sling, yes.
Said that the sort of the secondary motion was there.
I was watching the footy and didn't see the result of the tackle.
Borderline.
It's Fallon with the footy.
I can see why it was paid.
I'm not going to comment at all.
Don't know whether
I'll leave it to you guys to comment about that one.
This is one man who has the leg from here, that's for sure.
Fallon stands on the boundary line. The man on the mark stands on the arc of 50, which is about 40 metres, to be honest. Fallon with a left footer. It will not be a goal. Curnow muscles for the punt position, and Wright just cutely puts it through for a minor score and kills it, which takes the Bloods to 18. They are trailing 36, live 25, local fresh footy.
First score since the 26-minute mark of that first quarter. So we went 32 minutes in the opening term. We're 19 through the second. That's a long time between drinks, about 25 minutes of actual game time for the Bloods since they had last scored. Keating off halfback for the Dragons, kicks a long footy up the line, broadcast the clubroom side of the ground, and some hard tough stuff there by Morris, who shoved Rustbridge over almost into the easel that's holding up the magnets over there, and the South Bendigo coaching fraternity.
It's almost half-time in the Loddon Valley Football League at Inglewood, and it is Inglewood leading by 4 goals over Mitiamo, 8-4 to 4-4.
Good on you, Jacko. Thank you. Ball tossed back in. Collins was grabbed when he didn't have it by Hood, so free kick coming to Jesse Collins here for the Bloods. First season at South Bendigo. Kicks down the line. G. Smith should have absolutely gobbled that up. Bounced off his chest and ricocheting it back the other way was Mills. Kicks inside the forward 50. A scrubbing ball for Sandhurst. Coming up to meet it was Schmetzer. He couldn't keep it in. And it'll be tossed in, 55 out from the Dragons' goal. Left half forward on the Adam Cornish wing.
Umpire will throw it in.
I'm going to make that a thing by the end of the day.
Yeah, well, it's already. We've got it. We're going with it. We like it. Collins will do the ruck work again for the Dragons, but it was Collins of the Bloods that tried to make a path, and some good hard work in there. Another stoppage.
At the footy at Docklands last week, and looking around the ground, and on the LED signs around the ground flashes up the name Adam Cornish. So I can't get away from the bloke.
He's just everywhere as the ball is sharked there by Poyser. Poyser went round the body, and I fear he's put it out of bounds on the fall. But goes inside forward 50. It was a kick that came in board. And the run at the footy was pretty good, and it was by Campbell, and he'll have another shot at goal. What did they play on quickly there, did they, from the...
Yeah, out of bounds and played on quickly, and their beautiful kick to a leading forward straight out, directly in front. I'm going to let you guess the distance there, Johnny, but...
Well, he's inside the arc, so...
Give me a number.
32.5. As he kicks it over the goal umpire's hat for his second score sponsor, Don Smallgoods, Don is good, and that'll take the score to 6-6-42. The Dragons, they lead South Bendigo 2-6-18. Live 25 local fresh footy.
Just moving the ball really, really well, Sandhurst, and making it difficult on the other end for South Bendigo to get any kind of ball movement happening. So, again, as I said earlier in the quarter, defensive profile of Sandhurst, it's holding up really well today.
Geez, you're right, they move the ball quickly. Then I lost sight of it for a minute. You just take a blink and away she goes. That's how good Sandhurst are this afternoon.
They move it cleanly too. They do not muck around with it, and it moves quickly and cleanly as Fallon comes out of the middle. He blasts it goalward, and it misses to the right-hand side. That was about as crisp a passage of play as the Bloods have had so far in the game. Jack Fallon hasn't had too much space, so a minor score makes it a 23-point ball game. 19 plays 42. Dragons ahead, 23 gone in the second term.
Free, he played on and kicked it quickly to the outer side wing to Keating. Keating's got a lead on to half forward to Tardrew. Ball is picked up and sharked nicely by Morris, but he stepped over the line and across half forward to be a ball in. Apart from the first bit of play in the first 10 seconds, Joel, that was probably even a little bit more quicker than that.
Yep, and we just haven't seen too much of it apart from those two passages. South will be looking to try and get something going into half-time here. It's been all the Dragons who, neither side's really put it on the scoreboard. 6-6 plays 2-7. Kick inside forward 50 for Sandhurst. He's cut off by Alex Davis, premiership player at Calival United with Bryce Curnow back in the day. And now White Hills last year, of course, before making the switch to South Bendigo. Ball up the line. Curnow punches it down to Hood. Off to Coughlin. Intelligent kick around the body was a really neat one. Finds Kobe Maxted. Right half forward for the Dragons. Centering kick. Is Campbell on the end of it? No, it's a terrific intercept mark. He wanted it a little bit deeper than that. Rusbridge able to cut it off. Comes over the defensive 50 now to Brooks, who's got it at right half back. He's looking for an option on the clubroom side. Instead, chips short to Zimmerman, who's got it at the top of the back 50.
Zimmerman, he'll play on now and he'll send it wide to the wing. He's got players to choose from. Whistle on play, they'll move it. It was a good kick. It ended in the path of Darling. Darling running with the flow of the footy. It's an awkward-looking left. That must be his opposite, surely, with a kick like that. It was at Smith's ankles and gave him no chance, Jason, and it'll be a ball up just in from the boundary, 25 from home.
Yeah, this ball is the first time this quarter that South Bendigo's actually got out the back of Sandhurst and couldn't take advantage of it.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty at all as Collins doing the ruck work now for the Dragons. Stagg puts his head over the footy and we might get a free kick here. Good umpiring it was by umpire Bennett. He didn't see it and he said, I'm going to adjudicate, throw it up, 20 from goal, South Bendigo in attack.
So Allen was the man dragged down in ruck. Collins had the better of the tap. Smith was almost on the end of it. Ground level footy here. They fight after it. Brooks, Collins tried to free the arm. Fendoff might have been high. Only went as far as Hood. Curnow's kicked out of bounds on the full. I think Jacko was calling for that because it almost came straight to you, Jackson Saunders.
Thanks, Joel. I thought Curnow kicked it to me. Almost my first touch of the afternoon.
Just about. Brooks takes it. He chips it infield to Zimmerman, who's marked just beyond the arc, so about 46 metres from home. That might be being generous to the 50s here at Harry Trott, just quietly.
Why don't they push it out to 50? Who cares if it touches up against the centre square? Does it matter?
I don't think it matters.
It confuses. I think it confuses thing here for commentators anyway.
So here's Zimmerman, and that is a horrible-looking kick off the boot and wobbles its way through for a minor score. 2-8 plays 6-6, so it's a 22-point game. Dragons well and truly in control. Wouldn't it cause an issue with the starting positions, the 6-6-6, because you've got to have 6 in the front 50 and then they'd be in the centre square and that'll be a bit weird?
If you are playing 6-6-6, it would cause an issue.
I knew you'd be over it, Joel. But from the restart, they're playing a little bit of kick-to-kick. Curnow ends up back with the footy in his defensive square. Then he kicks it long. It was a pinpoint ball to Hood. Hood will now trot down the wing for the Dragons. It's a neat kick as well. Oh, Penninger dropped a mark he shouldn't have taken. Caused a turnover. Geddes, turnover again as the siren sounds here at half-time. A couple of errors right on half-time siren here, but it's a 22-point margin. It's Sandhurst 6-6-42. They lead South Bendigo 2-8-20, live 25, local fresh footy.
Kicked the only 2 goals of that quarter, did the Sandhurst Dragons. They kicked 4 in the first, 2 in the second. South Bendigo wasteful in front of the sticks, just the 3 behinds in that second term. They go to half-time 22 points behind the Dragons. And team's just about out there. Jace, who's impressed you for Sandhurst so far?
Well, that man that you mentioned at the start there, Joel, Tom Campbell, really good in the forward line that quarter, and I think the majority of the play was down. Their half-back line was really dominant. Tananelli was good in the second quarter, I felt. I also had Lockie Wright down there as well. I thought we had a really good quarter.
Johnny, for South Bendigo?
South Bendigo, it was a bit of a struggle compared to last week. I didn't find it hard at all, as I'll get to you in a minute with that, Joel, as we get the second half underway here. And it is at margin 42 playing 20. South Bendigo, they trail as the ball comes inside forward 50 for the Dragons, but mopping up will be Van Human of the Bloods. The ball spills off the side of the boot, and Keating runs with the fly of the ball and takes a chest mark. Keating now of the Dragons. He'll go inside forward 50. Wilkinson is the target. Spills to Maxted. Maxted is out directly in front. He bunts at the ball. It'll bounce, and it is not straight. It goes through for a minor score. So that takes it to 43 playing 20. Sandhurst lead. Live 25. Local fresh footy.
So 23-point lead, early stages in his second term to the Dragons. Jack Fallon stands at the top of the defensive goal square. Comes short to Caden Antonovich, the 2 White Hills premiership teammates. And Antonovich, who hasn't seen much of it up front today, working defensively to get his hands on the pill. He's now called to go by Nathan Dunn. Not the required distance. He got it to Brereton. And now back to Antonovich. Dangerous kick across the defensive 50. Great stuff from Nick Stagg to run it down. Got a hand on it before he could get to Zach Hare. And forces a throw in the right forward pocket for the Dragons, who lead by 23 points. We've played a minute here in this third quarter. Live 25, local fresh footy.
Finding it hard to find a caller at the moment as the South Bendigo Social Club provide the sandwiches here. Aren't it magnificent as Zimmerman wins it off half-back for the Bloods. Puts it inside forward 50. There's no one forward of the centre for the Bloods. They're all in the defensive half as it is a whistle. Ireland comes up with a footy for the Dragons.
Supplied by Damien Power, and the Power family, of course, long-time supporters of ours here at Fresh FM, Johnny, for many, many, many years.
Yeah, and we're thankful for it as Antonowicz got caught with the footy playing up the field. It looks like Keating, he's had a good game this afternoon. He'll come inside forward 50. He's got a hard lead. He honours it to Campbell. Campbell couldn't quite grab it. Stagg emerges by hand, gives it to Wilkinson. A little bit too easy, and he had a shot at goal, but almost off the instep, in fact, and missed by a long way. And it'll be Hare with the footy that's got a free kick right in front. In fact, it's Haddo, both with the long sleeves, and he'll get a penalty free kick.
So Haddo goes back toward the defensive goal to Brereton. What can he do with it? It's all slowed down in front of Tommy Brereton. Final score in the A-grade netball, 75-32. So a thumping win for Sandhurst this afternoon over a rather inexperienced South Bendigo lineup. Davis to Collins. Collins has turned it over. Pinched by Wilkinson, who picks it off. Handball to Campbell. Open goal. He's got it. Tommy Campbell's got 3, and he's only 1 off the lead in the league goal kicking for 2025. Sandhurst with the first of the second term, 7-7-49 to 2-8-20. We've played 3 minutes in this third quarter. Live 25, local fresh footy score sponsor, Aussie Disposals.
I think my objective after this call today is to make the league aware that Sandhurst's defensive profile is elite. And again, that's a goal straight from defence, and I'm sure Bryce and Lockie are talking to them about it week in, week out. But that's fabulous football from a defensive standpoint.
Back in the middle, it'll be Crisp doing the ruck work. He did well, but they're up against it at the moment. Emerging with a footy handball over the top was Swatton. He handballs it to space, then runs after his own footy, picks it up. Kevin Bartlett style along the boundary line. He handballed it, and then he collected a little bit of a crude tackle. A Sandhurst player is down, hurt. Might have got one in the bread basket, and slow to get up. Might in fact be Nick Stagg.
If the bread basket's on his shoulders, that's where he cocked it, Johnny.
Yeah, well, I reckon he got it flush straight in the middle, Jace. It's on in the forward 50 there for the Bloods. As it might be Mills that gets up gingerly.
I reckon you're right, Johnny.
And
I reckon there's a player being sent off here, is there? Has Scotty Bennett gone for a card? He has.
He has. Swatton.
it was a little bit crude through the glasses, wasn't it? He ran straight at him, and he admittedly, he was open, Mills, but just lay up straight into him. He did that little bit of a Kevin Bartlett handball that I described through the call and just kept on playing on after he got rid of the footy. That's what's happened. Now it'll be the Dragons through Ireland. A lateral cross across half-back to Coughlin. Coughlin to right. Right on half-back, also looking to build for the Dragons. So right now, short pass. Finds English. English now on the wing. Looks to come inboard. It's a high ball. Connick sets himself, hand on the footy. Stagg tried to bring down and did bring down Van Human, who swooped on the ball for the Bloods. And right in front of us, in front of the old scoreboard, pretty tight angle. They're only 25 from home. Dragons are in attack. Will have a ball up.
So 4-minute mark was the Swatton yellow card. So that's the sort of the time to keep an eye on. Kick across the goal for the Dragons. Came from Ollie Morris. Bounces its way into the pocket. Davis links up by hand with Geddes. Longer hand pass down to Nitschke. Nice stuff off half-back for the Bloods. Down the line to Allen. He dropped the mark. He absolutely should have swallowed that, Will Allen. And just about sums up their day, South Bendigo. Because when they have looked like it, they haven't been able to piece it together. And the ball will be tossed back in front of their bench. A little bit on off the footy again. And Will Allen has absolutely floored Liam Island there. And gee, even if you take a hit that maybe you shouldn't have, you can't do that. You can't run 30 metres and just bowl the bloke over and expect that the umpire's not going to do anything about it. That is not terrific from Will Allen. And so Curnow, he comes off half-back, kicks up the line. Maxted pulls it out of the air at right half forward. Maxted kicks to full forward. Campbell, and he's converging on it with Connick. He pulled Brooks off the footy. No free kick for that. Now Haddo pushes Connick across the boundary line. Ball spills out. It'll be tossed back in. Right forward pocket. It is the Dragons in attack. They lead by 29 points. We've played 6.5 minutes in the third term.
Do you sense frustration on the Bloods' behalf, Jason?
Yeah, I do. And it's probably partly to do with the way that Sandhurst is playing, that pressure that they're applying.
They've been asked a few questions here, the Bloods, I reckon. They need to respond. And Wilkinson, set play, I reckon that was. He was at the front of the back and he swooped on it and just tried a little bit of a cute banana ball at goal, and in fact might have just snuck it in for a minor score. So that takes it to 50, playing 20. It's out to 30 points here, and we're almost midway through this third term. Live 25, local fresh footy.
Fallon drives it in from fullback for the Bloods. A bouncing ball through the centre. Harvey taken high. No, said the umpire. Connick wrapped him up. Harvey had his head over the footy and will have it balled up. Defensive side of centre for South Bendigo. George Street side of the ground here at Harry Trott Oval. Antonovich in the middle now. Got it off to Brereton. Sockers it forward. Straight to Pinniger. Not the 15 for the Dragons player, who marks in the centre circles. Kicks inside the forward 50. Reaching over the top is Fallon. Brought it to ground. Swooping on it was Morris. It deserves a finish, and it gets it. Terrific stuff from Ollie Morris, who was onto that in a flash. And snapped truly for the 8th of the day for the Dragons. 8-8-56 to South Bendigo, 2-8-20. It is a 6-goal ball game. 8 minutes gone, third term, live 25, local fresh footy. That was very clean, Jason Stevens.
Brought a little smile to my face down here too, Joel. That was the first one was Jack English, who's doing a really good job on Jack Fallon as well. So under 19 interleague squad member Jack English, and then finished off by under 19 interleague squad member Ollie Morris. So
got a bit to work with.
A little bit to work with there. Yeah, put a big smile on my face down the centre of the box.
Showing their class here, the Dragons out at Harry Trott Oval. Chris will go in the ruck. He wins it on that occasion. So the problem not is there. It stems from just the overall work rate of the Dragons at the moment. They're elite.
Jack English was involved in some friendly fire with Cody Brooks a moment ago too of South Bendigo. He's been in everything.
So it'll be the Dragon Sue Tardru. He had to retreat and go backwards in order to come forward, but it was clever. He had Schmetzer on his own on right half forward flank. Now a little bit of a kick over the top made all players work there. It was just to a pack of players. Hood's on the end of a handball. He's out and he kicks it straight into the post. And his eyes lit up. He said, thank you very much, I'm out of here. So it takes it to 57 playing 20. Live 25 local fresh footy. In control here, the Dragons.
A smile of disbelief there from Lockie Hood. He couldn't believe it that he had nailed the goal.
Hare to Haddo. Now to Brooks in the right back pocket, right in front of us. It's all just slipping away from South at the moment. 37 points the margin. Brooks waits for it to unfold in front of him, then dumps the kick long down the George Street side and a rise over the top from right. Pulls in an impressive mark. Kicks to a 2-on-1, finds Schmetzer. Just floated past the reach of Antonovich. And Schmetzer takes the mark, 42 metres out. He's directly in front, kicking to the Neil Street end.
It's just extra numbers now, isn't it? With the they already looked like they had an extra man on the field, Sandhurst. Before there was one sent off, and now there's definitely an extra man floating around now.
So Hugh Schmetzer, first season at Sandhurst. He's got the 10 goals so far. 3 last week, 5 in round 2 against Strathfield Say. From outside the arc, he lays into it, and he loves it. It's a great set shot from the big fella. His first of the afternoon, and Sandhurst really skipping away now. 9-9-63, the reigning champs. They lead South Bendigo, who are stuck on 2-8-20. They have not kicked a goal since the 26-minute mark of the first term, the Bloods. The margin 43 points the way of Sandhurst. Score sponsor, Jason Westcott Builder. We're 11 minutes through the third term.
Schmetzer kicked 48 goals last year for Osborne in the Hume League before he was recruited to the Dragons. He's brung a lot to their lineup this year.
Back in the middle, a lot being asked of the Bloods now. They win the tap again, but Stagg tries to sweep on up for the Dragons, but it's just the weight of numbers. The ball is shovelled out to half forward. The work there came from Robinson. Inside the forward arc they go now. Wilkinson just managed to pick it up. He shrugs a tackle. He might have dropped his knees a little bit there, but he will get a free kick for one round the ear, and probably there, Jason.
It's probably there. Probably a free kick. He was the one making the play, and it did creep up high.
When you've got the intensity of the footy out of the middle as well, you know, it's just, I wouldn't say it's a tidal wave, but it's starting to get that little bit of a feel about it.
It's a fair statement, actually, from Sandhurst. They've turned the heat right up.
Not having their way at the moment in the middle at all. The Bloods, like they did last week against the Magpies down at Camp Reserve. Matthew Wilkinson directly in front. Distance won't be a problem. And he just cocks his head as he willed it through from Major. So that takes the score now to Sandhurst 10-8-68. They are leading 2-8-20, the Bloods. Score sponsor, Bendigo City Framers. And he must be a candidate for the award this afternoon. Our sponsors award for $100, Matty Wilkinson. Live 25, local fresh footy.
2 good games in a row. He played very well last weekend as well. So, big celebration after that goal. There was a lot got around him.
Game 50 for Matty Wilkinson.
50. Okay, there you go.
That's 49 points now. 45 points the margin. 55, I should say. So it's really getting away from South Bendigo now. 5 goals in this term for the Dragons so far. Schmetzer out of the middle. Tumbles a kick inside the forward 50. Putting his head over it, trying to charge forward is Rustbridge. He's grabbed by a couple of Dragons. And we'll have a ball up. 10-9 plays 2-8. It's been really strong stuff from Sandhurst. Cooper Smith goes through the pack, bumps the tackle off from Fallon, got it away, kick across the 50. Oh, Pinniger rising up, couldn't mark the kick from Robinson, spilt to ground inside the forward 50 for the Dragons. Wilkinson's there again, he's tackled, and a ball up 35 metres out from the South Bendigo goal.
He's had some potency up forward, Wilkinson, don't you think? Unlikely potent player up forward.
Yeah, he's dangerous, really dangerous. Tough matchup.
As Maxted gave it by hand to Stagg. Stagg on the left, put it up the chimney. Inside forward 50. Tracking the ball now will be Campbell. Offering support was Nelly. Nelly around the body. Wilkinson was brave. Ran back into a pack. He got his hands on the foot. He couldn't bring it down. Now Stagg gets involved. Tries to make a path, and Bloods were desperate, and they needed to be in the back half via Rustbridge on that occasion, and we'll have a stoppage and a ball up.
Up it goes. Campbell down to Tardrew. Pulled off his kick. Puts his head over it again. So does Brereton. Now chasing it out to the boundary line. Oh, backheel there from Wilkinson was inventive. It certainly wasn't intentional. Nick Stagg couldn't keep it in. It'll be tossed back in underneath us. Right underneath our broadcast position here. 10-9 plays 2-8. 14.5 gone in this third term. Take Poyser and is embroiled in the wrestle there with Jack English. They've both got each other sort of pinned down. Cooper Smith comes away with it. Smothered brilliantly by Brereton for the Bloods. Spills to Haddo, to Blake Poyser. Clever kick, hooking it infield. He found Harvey, who's a long way from home. And there is really no one past centre here for South Bendigo. Bryce Curnow's the last link in the chain. Allen's out at right half forward if they can get it there. And a looping hand pass goes in his direction. 65 from goal, Will Allen. He now retreats by hand. Blake Poyser, short kick, looking for Antonovich. Doesn't work out for him in the end. And then in the desperation to try and get to the footy, Caden Antonovich, he legged Lockie Tardrew. And so Tardrew will take the free kick. Defensive side of the George Street wing for the Dragons. They lead by 49 points, 15 gone in this third term. He finds Ireland, who hands off to the overlap of Bryce Curnow.
Further overlap now to Hood. Hood dropped the ball and had plenty of time to get it. Then by hand, he gives it there to English. English into the pocket. They're just lining up here. Inside forward 50. The kick is severe. Crisp should have marked a ball that he dropped. McCaig gave it up. Handballed it straight to the opposition. And the Dragons have kicked a goal. It might be Stagg that's kicked it on the left. He has, and popped it through, and that was just easy as you like. That takes the Dragons to 10-8-68. They lead 2-8-20 score. Sponsor, Parsons Towing, Live 25, local fresh footy.
As soon as South Bendigo have a little bit of the passage of play, have the ball at half forward, look up, and are outnumbered again. Try and go short, turn the ball over, comes back the other way, and then it's down at Sandhurst end again and have the opportunity to score. So just pressure all around the ground and really flexing their muscles, as I said earlier.
Will Pinniger with that deep forward 50 entry helped to create that Stagg goal to a Gardner reserve. It's Gisborne 5-9-39, leading Castlemaine 4-5-29.
So 16.5 gone in this term. It's the Dragons by 55 points. They are doing it comfortably. Bloods with the clearance, long kick inside forward 50. Harvey battles for the footy. Their forwards really have had no chance this afternoon, South Bendigo. The delivery has not been there. And it'll be tossed up. Number 3 clearance side in the competition, Sandhurst. The Bloods number 6 in the competition so far this season. And after the opening couple of minutes, it's been a big part of the difference in the ball game. Rumbles around at half back, playing it for Robinson. Zimmerman's pushed out toward the boundary line. They jump on top of him, and we will have a ball up. Right half forward, Bloods into attack. They kick to the Glencoe Street end here in this term. They trail 11-9-55 to 2-8-20. We're 17 minutes through the third.
I appreciate you not correcting my score there earlier on, Joel. Thanks to the South Bendigo Bloods, the social club, for providing the sandwiches. I just shoveled one too many in and must have missed a goal.
Well, what's the sandwich scoreboard say?
Oh, yeah, they're magnificent. But the Bloods, Geddes, talking about scores, they need to get one on the board as they go inside forward 50. I'm not sure they're going to make the most of it here as Nelly swooped on it for the Dragons, but then turns it over. Fallon for the Bloods, then dishes it off. A long ball inside forward 50 now, Bloods. But Curnow, in fact, it's Coughlin. Curnow was riding shotgun, then asked for the ball to be kicked to him and does. Just peeled off. Now he'll go across the defensive face of goal to right. Right now looks to come aggressive, far too aggressive. A fresh air shot for the Bloods, but here emerges another turnover. I don't know if it's lazy or it's tired players, but now Coughlin off half-back. He receives, gives it to Connick. Connick puts it on his boot and he hits up Morris of the Dragons.
Kicked a good goal earlier in the term, Ollie Morris. Chips it short to Cooper Smith, the skipper for the Sandhurst Dragons. Both shoulders taped. He rolls around onto his right boot, sends it inside forward 50. Wilkinson up in front. Collins at the back. He had English crashing over the top of him, and it's locked up. And Nathan Dunn crosses the arms and says, ball up. You can see in his left ear, he's got the earpiece in, which is new for the BUA this season. Be able to communicate with the on-field umpires. Up it goes, inside forward 50. Maxted rips it out of the ruck, spins and snaps on goal and leaves it too far to the left, out of bounds on the full. Tommy Brereton very keen to make sure he was the one taking the kick from full back. He scampers across to pick the Sharon up and outlets to Zach Hare, back with the flight, drop the mark with the shadows creeping across the ground in that left back pocket. Shares it with Antonovich, got it back, tackled by Wilkinson, his Hare. That Sandhurst pressure unrelenting. And they force another stoppage inside the forward 50. Up by 55 points. We've played 19 minutes in the third quarter. Live 25, local fresh footy.
Wilkinson with that tackle, exceptional. Jack English also been good with that this term.
As much as the drag is impressive, a little bit disappointing from the Bloods here at Harry Trott. Down at Gisborne, Castlemaine, a lot closer game, 45 playing 30, Murphy's Law. But we're at the different game as the ball was kicked out of bounds on the full, and it will be a Dragons free kick now. Inside forward 50 through right. Wright's kick was a poor one, and he hit Brereton across half back for the Bloods. Brereton not sure where to go. He'll go short and laterally to Zimmerman, and on left half back, Zimmerman has got the football, and he'll just slow it down, Joel.
He looked like he was going to be dangerous early, Chase. They've done a good job to curtail his influence, the Dragons.
Yeah, they have. He's very good at reading it off his ruckman as well, who has been sensational all day from a South Bendigo perspective. But yeah, his influence hasn't been there in the last two quarters.
Of course, we know both teams without some key personnel. No Matt Cameron, no Isaiah Miller, no Stephen Strubens for South Bendigo. Sandhurst likewise, of course. They don't have the reigning Ron Best medalist, Fergus Green, among a couple of others. Clever kick from Schmetzer, who took it from the out of bounds on the full, kicks it to Stagg. Is he just inside or just outside the 50 there, Jacko? Right in front of you?
Well, technically he's inside the 50, but
the arc.
I would say that he's presently about 50 metres out from goal. He's doing the Matthew Lloyd toss of the coin, not of the coin, of the grass, I should say. So, anyway, there's little breeze to speak of.
Let's see how he goes. Nick Stagg from wide out right, shaping pretty well. That's an absolute belter of a set shot. And Nick Stagg wheels away and celebrates. A really crafty finish from out wide. And it's a 61-point ball game. 12-9-81 to 2-8-20. A 6-goal quarter from Sandhurst. And the Bloods have stopped dead in this third term so far. We're 21 and a half minutes through it. Score sponsor, Jason Westcott Builder, Live 25, local fresh footy.
He'd be a commentator's dream, Staggy, when he's having a set shot, wouldn't he? Because as soon as it looks like it's going through, the fingers are in the air and you can rise. So, no, fantastic finish from out there, 45, 50 metres out. That's a beautiful finish from the boundary line.
Antonowicz is in the middle now for the Bloods, trying to get some drive. But it's in dispute, and I reckon we'll have a ball up again. We will. Another stoppage. And we'll do it all again. Bloods, they're a bit shell-shocked, really. No one really come here expecting a blowout like this as Zimmerman. He picked it and kicked it long, but it was intercepted by Curnow. It was dealt with after the footy, but umpire let it go by Free. Free kicks it forward, intercepted by Brereton. Brereton will mop up for the Bloods. They're playing kick-to-kick here. Coughlin will pick it up if it bounces nicely. He got on his knees and he just wheeled the ball. Connick, inboard, Stagg. Here they go again. It's inside Smith. He's hit up Hood. Hood had his hands flat but couldn't quite mark it. Antonowicz, underground handball. Handballs in the direction of Geddes for the Bloods, and comes inboard aggressively, and it will be a free kick to McKay of the Bloods.
That it will. And Ollie Morris draped all over him. McKay comes laterally and infield to Brereton. He hasn't stopped trying today for South Bendigo. Top of the defensive 50. Chips short to Geddes in the centre of the grounds. Got a couple cruising past. Couldn't find Fallon. Handball for Brereton, a little bit too hot. Had to have a second grab at it, did Tommy B. Kicks inside the arc. Curnow sitting under it. Darling right there with him. Dragged down. Maybe he didn't have the footy, Bryce Curnow. Alex Smith appeals for a free kick. Umpire says nothing doing. And we'll have a ball up, 35 metres out from the south goal. Up at the cricket net's end here at Harry Trott Oval. Terrific day for footy. Conditions-wise, hasn't been a terrific day for South Bendigo supporters, unfortunately. Smith up and down the mine shaft inside the arc. Sitting under it is Connick, reaches up with two hands, brings it down only as far as Hare. His lightning hand pass to Brooks. Brooks got it away by hand, dragged off the footy was McCaig. And the Dragons will bounce it back the other way through Nally. Clever outlet kick finds Stagg at half back.
Stagg will dish it off by hands to Smith. Smith will now come to half forward. He's got Matty Wilkinson out. Wilkinson of the Dragons turns and goes. He's got a player on in Campbell who's left alone, and he's only lucky to be 15 metres out from goal. Pretty tight angle, but it was just the movement again. Find some space, Jason, and another shot at goal.
Yeah, I know we've been glowing in our praises of the way they've moved the footy and the way they've defended today, but they have really made a statement, Sandhurst, here. This has been a really class showing.
Campbell will go round the body on the right like they always do nowadays, but failed on that occasion. It was a little bit skinny and it was in for a minor score. That takes it 82 playing 20, 62-point margin. Bloods trail by a big margin, live 25, local fresh footy.
Would have pulled him equal with Caden Antonovich atop the Ron Best medal leaderboard. Tommy Campbell, he's got 3 goals, 3 for the afternoon now. And a busy one for him. Here's Nitschke, such a well-credentialed player coming from Kerrang with Troy Coates. Kicks down the line and had a bit too much on it to the George Street side, out of bounds on the full.
Just as that happens, I'm here with Lee Coughlin, Joel, and Staggy with that last goal for Sandhurst. Talk us through the celebration as he interacted with you, Lee, here in the crowd.
A few of us boys down here were asking for a barrel, but Andy Collins said just a drop punt, Nick. So I think it was more so a bit of a thank you, Andy, for the advice. It was a very good celebration.
It was good to see the interaction. Thanks, Leroy. Back to you, Joel.
Nice to hear Leroy. Of course, not a he's done special comments with us before here on Fresh FM. A veteran of the airwaves. Kicks inside the forward 50 here for the Dragons. Coming over the top there was Darling over Campbell. Has he given away a free for an unrealistic attempt? Or a push in the back? Take your pick. He has. And so Tom Campbell, who missed a pretty regulation one from 20 metres out in his left forward pocket, now has the Nick Stagg assignment. So tied up against the fence in the right forward pocket. Maybe a little bit closer to goal. Kick of 35 metres. What can he make of this, the big fella from Wedderburn? The right footer tied up against the boundary line. Just across the face, in the words of Ron Rogers, and through for a minor score. 12-11-83 to 2-8-20, 63-point ball game. It is all the Dragons. The Bloods haven't scored since half-time. We're 26 into the third on local fresh footy.
Collins from the restart from kicking from full-back went short and found Brooks. Brooks then goes back into the defensive goal square to where they started, to Hare of the Bloods. Jace, are you seeing any positives on there? Let's not talk about negatives about South Bendigo, but he's kicked it short, didn't go the required 15 metres. He hit up Haddo. Haddo got grabbed and fortunately didn't get pinged for holding the ball, and it will be a ball up. Right at the top of the goal square now. Up they'll go in the ruck. Wilkinson was on the end of it, couldn't quite get his boot to ball. Zimmerman at the bottom of the pack. Tardrew lurking. So is Stagg. And again we'll have a stoppage. Right at the top of the goal square, ball up.
I'll do it again. Crisp and Campbell. Crisp, 2 hands down. Sandhurst with the representation. Rusbridge. He's dragged to the turf. Hood and Tardrew waiting for it to come out, and it won't.
I will answer your question soon, Johnny. I'm just going to let the commentators go.
Just ruminating on that one.
I thought you were looking for something, Jason. It was bad news all our way.
Shadows creeping across the ground here. Fallon gallops away with it from defensive 50 for the Bloods. Takes a bounce as he cuts it infield. He lashes a kick up the line. Swatton back on the ground after the yellow card. He can't clear the space at half forward. Coughlin back the other way for the Dragons. Goes into the mess at half back for Sandhurst. They've got numbers everywhere. There is maroon and navy jumpers working in numbers. It's going to be a free kick. Was it to Ireland? No, in fact, Scotty Bennett's called for a ball up, which he will get just forward of the wing. Bloods into attack. Haven't scored in the quarter, Johnny. We're 28 minutes into it.
And we'll have another stoppage. In fact, it might be a free kick going the Dragons one for too high.
And they now haven't kicked a goal in a half of football, South Bendigo.
Yeah, disappointing. As Wilkinson shades the sun from his eyes. He's had a lot of the footy. He's a candidate this afternoon, you would think, for our Bendigo City Framers Sponsors Award. $100 voucher could be going his way. How are we going to decide it this afternoon, Joel?
I don't know. You sound like I know he's in your stable, Matty Wilkinson, but sound like you're just pushing his case. That's okay.
I like the little man. I might leave it up to Why don't we leave it up to Jason? Special comments for a day.
Better judge than us.
It's up to you, Jason, to pick the Bendigo City Framers Sponsors Award afterwards. So that can be your job as Island. Clearly the sting's gone out of this game, hasn't it? As we're treading water as he goes short to Nelly. Nelly across the face of his defensive goal to Curnow. Curnow back whence it came. Kick to kick. They're just sharing it around. Keating, he started off with a blast, but's quietened down and, in fact, has kicked it out of bounds on the full. So it'll be a penalty-free kick going the way of the Bloods.
One thing that's certainly a positive for the Bloods is still a big crowd here. There's plenty of red and white around the ground here at Harry Trott. Terrific day for footy.
Jason, there's a positive.
Has found a positive. Well,
sandwiches were good, Joel, as well. There's another positive.
Yep. I'm not sure much on the oval has been all that positive for South Bendigo, to be fair. I think that's a pretty realistic perspective than a pessimistic perspective. Kick toward half forward. Then, in fact, on that occasion, it was Zimmerman who had to play at it. Ball out toward the boundary line. It'll be tossed back in. So, nearing three-quarter time, South Bendigo has not scored in this term. Sandhurst has kicked 6 goals, 5. It has been a domination to blow the game wide open. Ball slapped back over the boundary line. And it'll be tossed back in. Joel Swatton was missing for 15 minutes during this quarter for the yellow card. A little bit of remonstration going on. And it has been really tough sledding for the Bloods here in the third.
Siren sounds. And they didn't score, Joel?
Nope.
Well, the score is 12-11-83 to Sandhurst to 2-8-20 live, 25 local, fresh footy.
So that's a 63-point margin to Sandhurst, who, as we said, kicked 6 goals, 5 in that quarter. The Bloods did not trouble the scorers. They have not troubled the scorers since the 26-minute mark of the second term. They haven't kicked a goal since the 26-minute mark of the first term, a day that started with so much promise for South Bendigo. Is turning into a very difficult afternoon at the office. What can they salvage from this final term? We will find out very shortly indeed. The Dragons by 63 points as we turn for home. Stick with us. Live 25, local fresh footy.
That quarter, and I thought neutralised that contest a fair bit in there.
So it's the Bloods 2-8-20. They trail 12-11-83. Let's see if they can get some respectability back on the scoreboard. Live 25, local fresh footy. Here's Joel Peterson to call the last quarter.
Collins and Crisp are new acquaintances in the middle. It's Haddo who forces it forward, or defensively for South Bendigo to let it come forward. Davis jams a kick up the line. Zimmerman, handball over his head to Fallon, to Haddo, looks up. Kicks to fall forward off the hands of Allen, and they remain scoreless since that half-time. The Bloods, it trickles out in the left forward pocket. It'll be tossed back in as the light starts to fade and the shadows creep ever longer here at Harry Trott Oval. Ball will be tossed back in right underneath our broadcast position.
Bloods in attack. Can they get one on the board? Doing the ruck work now is Allen. He tapped it, rebounded off an ankle and then went straight back to him and he popped it through for his second. A little bit fortunate, but he'll take it. Score sponsor Bendigo City Framers. Live 25, local fresh footy. That's their first score and for a long time. 3-8-26 to 12-11-83. Jason Stevens.
Just an opportunist goal, wasn't it, from Big Will? He just
it bounced into his arms.
Bounced into his arms. Bounced into the big red circle on his jumper, which is a little bit different to everybody else's jumper, which knowing Will a little bit from back in different interleague days, he might have forgotten the jumper this morning and be rolling with a bit of a different one from the club, would be my guess with that one. There's a bit of a stitch up for him if he's listening on the vision later in the week. Opportunist goal, good finish.
He's won a couple of different jumpers so far this season as Will Allen, I think. Ball inside forward 50.
Yeah.
He's going to get another chance here because the kick out of the centre has hit him smack bang on the circle on the misplaced jumper. We don't know where the proper one is, but that one will do for now, Will. Especially if he can go back and kick his third. Of course, back of the Bloods this season, kicked 8 in 13 games for Inglewood last season. Looking for his 4th of the campaign here, and he's tugged the kick away to the left. Minor score, but what about that? Just like the opening minute of the first quarter, the Bloods have got 117 on the board, and they've narrowed the gap. It's 56 points, 3-9 plays, 12-11. Opening stages of the last.
Before that Will Allen goal a minute ago. Their last goal was kicked by Will Allen himself at the 27-minute mark of the opening term.
I told you it was a long time ago there, Jacko. As the ball goes beyond 50 now from the kick in from right, they'll win it through Hood. Hood handball, Maxted. Just threw it to Curnow. It was a magnificent throw. Maxted to Hood. Dragons to the wing now. It spills to the bottom of the pack. They'll emerge through Matt Wilkinson. He's got a hard lead and couldn't quite get it there for, it was Collins. Collins doing the ruck work earlier in the game. Stagg involved as well. Tardrew, short pass, lining up. Connick now, no opposition, goes long and hard and low, goes dangerously in the direction of Mills again, but defensively they'll mop up the Bloods, and let's see if they can get out of jail through Hare. It might in fact be Haddo with the footy.
You're right, the first time it was Zach Hare taking it down low.
Here's Haddo.
And now they work it down the line, indeed. Brody's got it between the wing and right half back on the George Street side.
Got long sleeves on Joel, they look similar.
Chips it down the line. Indeed they do. Here's Fallon. Came into the game a little bit in that third term, but has been well opposed all afternoon by young Jack English, who's made his senior debut last week and got a big job this afternoon and has done it with aplomb. Van Human kicks inside the forward 50 for South. Peeling off and reading it with ease was Lockie Wright.
He's been good.
That was a bit too easy. Now they come to Mills and they swing it across the defensive 50. Nally's going to come outside the defensive arc. Oh, Johnny's man Wilkinson just had a little bit, just sort of pulled up a bit. Swatton worked him off the football. Now it spills to Harvey. He got the handball away. Back to Swatton around the body. Collins back with the fly. Couldn't pull it in. He was tracking it back in flight. He went flying over the goal line and the ball followed him, but only for a minor score. And the margin is 55 points the way of the Dragons.
The kick in from fullback. It went to right. To Maxted, now over the top to Connick. Connick build. It's an awkward looking ball. Try to put it in the path of Stagg. Hare intercepted, and now they'll come off half back. Good contested, well, it was a contest for a moment and a whistle on play, so it will be a free kick for one under the ear. It's Smith. Smith now plays on. Handball wide. He goes to Nitschke. Nitschke now comes inside forward 50, shallow, but intercepting mark by Lockie Wright of the Dragons.
Wright pokes it forward to Nally. He's been a key part of this defence so long. Of course, he was the hard luck story in the grand final last year, Tanner Nally. He played so much of the season in the seniors and then missed out in the grand final. Coughlin kicks inside forward 50. Campbell comes up at it for the Dragons. Taking it off their feet was Smith. Rolls it to Wilkinson, who dribbles it through for his second. Matt Wilkinson's got a pair on the afternoon after kicking a few last week. 9 on the season now in game 50. And Sandhurst with their first of the last quarter. 13-11-89, plays 3-10-28, 61-point ball game. We've played 6 minutes in the final quarter. Live score sponsor, Jason Westcott Builder, Live 25, local fresh footy.
In the Loddon Valley Football League, a cracking game between Bridgewater and Pyramid Hill. 14-6-90 to Pyramid Hill, 13-8-86. 4 points the difference. Lockie Sharp has 7 goals. Newbridge by 24 points over Callable, and Ingwood easily beating Mitiamo.
Schmetzer in the ruck now for the Dragons. Hood won from the tap in. Now it's won again by Schmetzer, who got the end of the handball, and he's got a lead. He honours it to Smith. Smith of the Dragons, short pass, finds Keating. Not sure if it was his intended target. They're lining up forward now. He's beyond the arc, but it's not the distance you think it is because he slammed it through. Dragons are lining up and it's party time out here at Harry Trott Oval, and they now extend the lead to 14-11-95, leading the Bloods 3-10-28. Score sponsor, Don Smallgoods. Is Don, is good. Live 25, local fresh footy. And have they got a mercy rule here, Jason Stevens?
Yeah, they probably need one. There's it's I don't want to say unsung players, 'cause a lot of these players are premiership players, but the lower level profiled players of Sandhurst have been sensational today. They've, as far as the team effort goes, really big contributors to the victory.
Yeah, they've had so many who've been involved throughout the course of the afternoon. Crisp back in the middle, just thumps it out of the centre. Zimmerman, handball to Brereton, who was falling down. Back to Zimmerman, taken away from him by Hood, who spears the kick to centre-half forward. Maxted came charging up at it, couldn't take it with him. Spilt now to Smith. Smith's handball for the Dragons. Back into traffic. Stagg goes off the ground, hooks it inside the 50. Hood rides a tackle, tried to spin out of a second one. Now he gave it off by hand. Standing start for English, who throws it on the boot and kicks the goal. First goal in senior footy for Jack English. And they'll run from everywhere to celebrate with the youngster in his second game. 15-11, 101 to the Bloods. 3-10-28, 73 points the spread. And we have played 8.5 minutes in this final term. Score sponsor Parsons Towing, Live 25, local fresh footy. He's had a very good afternoon, young Jack English, Jace.
He has. I think he'll look pretty good in a blue and gold jumper on the 13th of July in the middle of the QEO. So hopefully he can continue the form.
Geez, we're only early days in this opening term, final term rather. Are we looking down the barrel of a 100-point defeat here? The way things are going, because they're going to win it now off half-back. Connick, an awkward-looking handball. It looked like a little bit of a throw to Curnow. Now tries to put it back in the path of Connick. Cruel bounce to Zimmerman. One of his rare possessions this afternoon. He's been relatively quiet compared to previous weeks, and we'll have a stoppage. 50 from goal for the Bloods.
Two progress scores in the Loddon Valley Football League. Morong 15-8-98 over Bears Lagoon Serpentine 8-6-54, and it's Inglewood 104 to Midiamo 41.
Thanks, Jacko. Ball down inside forward 50. Lockie Tardrew's going to pick it up off the fence.
I could do it myself.
Didn't want to give him a hand there, Jacko? Or?
No, I was a bit busy talking to you, Joel. And Bryce Curnow, by the way, at three-quarter time for Sandhurst, was saying that he wants to keep South Bendigo goalless in this last term. Well, obviously that hasn't happened.
I'd like to see you get a kick of the footy. Your father is a Mickelson medalist after all, Jacko.
Fallon off the pack. He whips it around the body and misses to the right-hand side. I'll give you the rider reply in a second, Jacko. 3-11-29, plays 15-11-101, 72 points the margin. Here comes Lockie Wright, just ambling in from fullback.
Handball over the top. It's a free, runs free. It's a copter, ugly ball. Goes up to the wing, but Wilkinson's up to the task, but he did step over the boundary line. And Mickelson medalist, your old man Damien there, Jacko.
He was a great player for Kangaroo Flat in 1990. I can't compare, but my claim to fame, well, I've got it on video at the Cathedral Presbytery if anyone's really bored. I kicked one of the winning goals here at Harry Trott in the Morong under 13.5 Panthers in the 2005 grand final.
Any of your teammates go on to anything, Jacko?
Well, Lockie Frankel still runs around for Morong and I think is playing this afternoon for the Panthers. His dad Kevin has been keeping us updated on scores there. The Panthers leading by 44 points.
Very nice indeed. Ball will be tossed up here. It is the Dragons by 72 points. Keating just peels off the back of the stoppage, kicks down the line. Darling's been swung into defence for the Bloods and intercepts on this occasion. It's a dangerous, aggressive kick, and it works out to Collins. Collins flares it out to the clubroom side. McCaig running onto it, takes some contact, got it away to Antonovich. He tries to fend off, does it effectively in the end. Then he got run down. Robinson picked him off in the tackle, holding the ball, comes bouncing back the other way through the Dragons. Tardrew's kick on the bounce to half forward. Maxted up to meet it, gave it off by hand to Stagg. Wasn't the cleanest bit of play. Now Brereton for the Bloods. In fact, Crisp just thwacks it forward as hard and as high as he can. Van Human brings it to ground. Curnow's on top of that. And we'll have a ball up 40 metres out from the Bloods' goal.
The Bloods have worked it forward once more. Robinson with that last tackle though. But the tackling count 17-6 in favour of the Dragons.
Well, it's in the hands of the Bloods now. They'll come inside forward 50. Free defensive punch over Harvey. Sends it towards the boundary line. Tracking it was Will Allen. Probably been one of the better players for the Bloods. But if I'd have said to you before this game started that Brock Harvey and Antonowitz wouldn't have a goal on the board at this stage of the game, you would have been thinking, oh boy, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And it is, oh boy.
It's a recipe for disaster as far as South is concerned.
A week's a long time in football. They were absolutely superb last week, but it just seems a lifetime ago as Crisp won it out of the ruck and then handballed it to a pack of players and right on the forward arc of 40 will have another stoppage ball up.
And as we've said throughout the call, you can't really put that at their feet because the supply just has not been there. Everything has been pressured that the Bloods have had out of the middle, if they've had it out of the middle throughout the course of the day. Tardrew eases his kick down the line. Maxted grabbed the arm of Rusbridge, but he got his kick away, Jake Rusbridge. He's been okay today. Haddo, short, Geddes. Marks just outside the arc. Rolls around on the right boot. He eyes the sticks and nails it. Nice finish. Well done from Hayden Geddes. His second goal in Blood's colours. And the fourth for South Bendigo. 4-10-34 to Sandhurst 15-11, 101. We have played 13 minutes here in this final term. Live 25, local fresh footy. Score sponsor, Bendigo City Framers.
In the Maryborough Castlemaine District Football League, it's three-quarter time. Harcourt 19-10, 124. Lead Avoca 5-4-34. Troy Coates, the South Bendigo coach, would be delighted with what he's seeing from his side in this last term. He said he wasn't concerned about the scoreboard, but he wanted to know about mateship and who he could go to war with on the footy field.
Bit dramatic out here at Harry Trotto. Oh, jeez. As the Bloods, they cough it up through the middle. It was intercepted there by Collins on the left.
Not enjoying that kind of work, Johnny? Or?
No, well, he comes in, boy. I just thought it was a little bit overboard, but Stagg goes around the body and slots it. Gives us a reply here. So that takes it to 16-11, 107 Sandhurst, 4-11-35. Scores, that's his second score sponsor. Jason Westcott Builder, Live 25, local fresh 40, and the war's almost over here, Jason.
Yeah, it was over, I think, at quarter time, to be honest, Johnny. It's well, there's a positive though, Coates. He's not negative with them as a group. He was he's obviously not looking at the scoreboard. He's looking at other things, but
he was very upbeat in his address at the last change. That Staggy's second goal too. The first was a stunning celebration in front of Lee Coughlin, who incidentally was meant to play for Cavendish today against Haywood in the Southwest District League, but he's got a bit of a hamstring injury, and he told me that Leon Davis, who used to play for the Collingwood Magpies, not my favourite team, is still playing with Haywood.
There you go. Thanks, Jacko. Quite the diversion. Ball back in the middle. Here's Crisp. We've covered all kinds of the states today with Jacko. We had, of course, Osborne for Big Hugh Schmetzer early, so right up in the northeast, and now down in the southwest. So don't tell us that we don't tell you about footy right around this great state of Victoria. Hands and knees stuff there from Keating. He's been terrific today for the Dragons. Towing the boundary line and trying to work his way out of trouble was right. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time there, Lockie Wright. And Jesse Collins was able to bring into a stop. He'll take it centre of the clubroom's wing, 16-11, 107 to 4-11-35. So a 72-point margin as Collins kicks to half forward. Allen pushed past it. Hood picks it up. Handball to Wilkinson. And again, they generate some dash off half-back. Kick on the bounce to Maxted. Back to Wilkinson. Has two bites of the cherry. Throws it on the boot. A little inside-out screw kick up toward half-forward. Darling left it behind. Campbell applied some pressure. Darling did well for the Bloods, though. Handball to Hare. Kick in field. Not the required distance. Cut off by Morris for the Dragons.
He moves it quickly and goes to Hood. And Hood will, well, he's a little bit too far out, so he squares up the ball. Goes to Smith. Smith will swing the ball wide. And he's hit up his teammate with a good kick in Robinson. Robinson short pass. It was probably a bit severe then. And he has coughed it up, and it's a turnover to Davis. Davis playing deep half-back all of this afternoon. He was good against Castlemaine last week in the back half as well.
One of the good people in football, Alex Davis, Johnny.
What's his background, Joel?
In terms of life or football?
Well, yeah.
So played up at Caliber United for many years, and then played at White Hills for a few years there, and won a flag at each club.
And this year we see him at the Bloods as Brock Harvey tries to make a path.
If you want to know, I'm pretty sure he's a Sparky.
Right, okay.
And just a general all-round nice guy.
2 kids and a dog at home as well.
I don't know how many kids. Certainly got at least one.
Yeah. He'll be kicking the dog or the kids when he gets home this afternoon. As
neither would be preferable.
The Bloods aren't even in the ballpark this afternoon.
I might butt in with some sense here. Match of the round in the Golden Valley Football League, 2nd v 3rd. Kyabram and Echuca. It's Kyabram up by 27 points.
Oh.
20 minutes gone in the last term.
Gee, that's interesting, Jacko. That match at Kai the Savo, but I watched Echuca a couple of weeks ago, and they are a very, very well-drilled outfit. Ball tossed back in, and picking himself up off the turf is Will Allen on the bottom of the pack. 17 and a half gone here in this final term. And it is all the Dragons who are going to romp to a 5th win of the season, undefeated to start the year, Sandhurst. And South Bendigo are going to find themselves firmly among the chasing pack, but firmly in the second tier of teams in this 2025 season as well. Having said that, just who is in the class of the Dragons remains to be seen. Zimmerman kicks up toward half forward, and Lockie Wright takes the mark at half back for the Dragons, who are going to make a few teams look very, very silly this season, the way they are playing this Sandhurst outfit. They've got plenty of talent, they're well drilled, they structure up nicely, balanced in every line. There's a reason that they're the reigning premiers, and they look every bit capable of continuing on with it this season as Free comes back to Nally, who's in the left back pocket.
Nothing possessions in the back half here. Right defensively deep. They're just playing kick to kick. Nally and
Looks
Free.
like they're out there like two 10-year-olds at half time. Going to go back here.
Island's in the other pocket calling for it as well.
Well, I look good on Prem data during the week.
Another one, Tanner.
Yeah.
Come this way. Right in front of us.
He might go beyond the arc. He does. That was a 60-metre ball. They'll set themselves. His target running deep was Campbell. In fact, the ball stays in play. Spills to Hood. Hood now trots along the wing of the Dragons. Handball inboard. He goes to a teammate, which is effective to Morris. Morris, an ugly-looking board, just shallow inside forward 50 now. But it will be Darling that emerges for the Bloods and comes smack bang into the middle. But it's Tardrew. No, he lost it. Numbers are with the Dragons. Handball out to Coughlin. Coughlin's all tied up and across half forward. Dragons in attack, ball up. They are leading by a big margin, 107, playing 35 Bloods.
Do you reckon we can get those few possessions rescinded from the record, Jace?
No.
Two kicks and 2 marks each, just taken off the tally for Nally and Free, because neither of them deserve it, let's be honest.
No, Tanner would be acutely aware of those stats, and with a couple of cheap ones and then a rebound 50, so it will look good during the week.
Sutton at half back, now Hare, he blasts it back the other way. Bounces awkwardly for Nally, that might be retribution. Or Smith, caught by Nally, got away from the tackle, low down hand pass for Van Human. It just has all looked difficult for South Bendigo today. And then a kick in hope and nothing else. Harvey was dragged down without the footy, no free kick. And now Ireland comes off half back for the Bloods. Handball away to Connick. Smith weaves and finds his way through the traffic. Comes back to Tanner Nally, who doesn't have Harry Free with inside, so he's going to have to find another option here. Nally will come off left half back. Sandhurst by 72 points. We've played 20 and a half minutes in the final quarter. Round 5 in Bendigo footy. Live 25 local fresh footy.
They'll swing it from one back pocket to the other. Free ends up with the footy. Running 3 metres right in support. Still in the back half now, right down the wing to Coughlin. Coughlin marks it really unopposed. Collins was up his hammer, but not quite enough. As we'll come inboard now, goes to corridor. Smith kicks forward. It was to Collins. Collins a little up and under kick. It was a bit too cute. They're all getting sick of it now. Even Sandhurst, they want to go home.
Question on notice, Jace, and have a think about this. How do you beat them? Like, what's the method to beating Sandhurst? We might come back to that in a moment.
You did see our score last week.
Ball ended up with Haddo deep in the back pocket for the Bloods. So it's all but over. It's been over for a long time here. The coach has got it. It's Fallon. He's cramping, in fact, the co-coach. Fallon now spread it wide to the wing. They'll set themselves. Hare takes a mark, uncontested, takes it in front of his eyes. And just treading water a little bit. Slowing things right down across half-back. And he kicks it straight to Luke Darling.
What does it look like from a game style perspective? Like, if a team is going to get on top of Sandhurst this year, what do you think it's going to require?
Yeah, that's a better question. So it's going to need to be one at the source, a heck of a lot more than what it has been today. So you need to be able to win the footy at the source. And then you have to get out the back of their defence really fast. So to be able to execute both of those things is extremely difficult in a game of footy. But you obviously need to have elite ball winners and great users that can actually get over the line.
It's a massive challenge. It's the biggest task in Bendigo footy at the moment. Hare's kicked to the edge of the arc, and Harvey finally gets a free kick. He's battled pretty hard today, Brock Harvey.
They've sat it on his head every single time, haven't they?
Yeah, it sort of looks like the South of a couple of years ago where they just kick it inside forward 50 and hope either Strubens or Harvey would catch it. And that's been their way under pressure over a number of years now, is that when they do see that pressure, the delivery is not there. And so Brock Harvey with a rare opportunity this afternoon in the shade at left half forward to kick from right on 50 outside the arc. He sinks his slipper through it, and it just misses away to the left-hand side. So he and Antonovich both goalless this afternoon, the pair of key forwards for South Bendigo. 4-12-36, Sandhurst 16-11-107. Score sponsor is Donny's Good, Don Smallgoods. Haven't had a lot of score sponsors required here in this last turn. 23 and a half minutes gone. Live 25 local fresh footy. Joel Peterson, John Hunter, Jason Stevens and Jackson Saunders with you. Round 5 of Bendigo footy.
Right, kicks it into Nelly. And also one of our sponsors, Bendigo City Framers. We've got a $100 voucher up for grabs for the completion of this game.
And you and I have delegated that task completely to
Jason Stevens. I'm pretty sure I know which club it's coming from for a start. As the ball goes out of bounds, across half forward for the Bloods. They are in attack. Big crowd still here, though, which is, you're right, Jason, a positive, but they've hung around. But it is a big occasion this afternoon, a big game, the Graham Wright Memorial Cup. Now Collins, cued over the top to Zimmerman, on half forward. Bloods will go forward. Harvey's 2-on-1, was never going to win that contest, and it was a mark taken by Lockie Wright. He might be a candidate, Jason, for the voucher.
He's in there. There's a lot of these halfbacks for Sandhurst that are definitely up in the running.
He's trying to just influence the voting. I think there is Johnny again. A chip down the line from Wilkinson. Finds Keating, who started like an absolute house on fire this afternoon. The Jack Keating.
Pyramid Hill have pulled away from Bridgewater. Bridgie did lead by a goal not so long back, but it's Pyramid Hill 17-13, 115 to Bridgewater 14-6, 90.
Yeah, thanks, Jacko. And Bridgie had the jump. Lockie Sharp had 4 at quarter time, so that's a good fight back from the Bulldogs. Long kick up the line here over the head of Connick. Rustbridge races back toward the football. Brooks is there with Connick at half-back for South Bendigo. They camp on top of it. Umpire says we will ball it up. And the sunshine on that clubroom side.
A final score in the Golden Valley Football League match of the round between Kyabram and Echuca, and it was the Kyabram Bombers winning by 33 points over the Echuca Murray Bombers, 117-84.
Significant result, that one, absolutely. Here's Hood for the Dragons. He kicks goalward, falls into the goal square. Wilkinson running onto it. Did he jag that one through? Umpire says maybe. Going to have a chat here. South players think it was touched. Wilkinson thinks he's got the goal. Field umpire and goal umpire having a conference. They want to involve the boundary umpire. Both boundary umpires are in there. So we're waiting on the results.
Can we get our man on the spot over there to give us an update?
That's a behind. Only a behind from that one, so deemed that it was touched on the way through. So the margin goes back to 12 straight kicks, 16-12 to 4-12. Sandhurst are going to take a comprehensive victory away from Harry Trott Oval this afternoon. It'll be a 5th win for them over South Bendigo in a row.
Fallon kicks it in there for the Bloods, finds McKay hard up against the boundary line, and they'll work it through Brereton. And Jacko, no score from down at the graveyard, no updates from up here, so see if you can do some of your best work and find out what's going on down there as Charlie Robinson gets a free kick now for the Dragons. He's across half forward. He plays on quickly. He'll send it long, deep into the forward pocket. Wilkinson was lurking in the area. Hurried handball goes to Hare, who's coughed it up. He's kicked it straight to Lockie Wright, who's directly in front at centre half forward. Probably a fraction too far out to score he is. He swings it into a pocket. He's got the lead.
It's a great kick.
And it was Matthew Wilkinson who took it on the chest, but he's standing on the boundary line. He's going to have to pay admission to get back in before he kicks it. But
I'll tell you what, if he does kick it, his name is getting penciled onto that Bendigo City Framers Award.
Yeah, the sponsorship this afternoon. He already won it in round 1, Matthew Wilkinson, from memory. He's a candidate this afternoon. Matty Wilkinson, really tight angle. We'll get a good look at this ball. It's long, it's high. Goal umpire does not move and puts it through for his third. Boy, oh boy, what a shot for goal that is. That takes it to 17-12, 114, 4-12-36. Score sponsor, Parsons Towing in Castlemaine, Live 25, local fresh footy, and that was just, I'm astounded.
Yeah, he gets so much time and space afforded to him in that forward line. It's extraordinary. He's a really dangerous player down there in that area. Like I said, probably underrated as far as Sandhurst players goes, but he does his work week in, week out, and
not much of him, Jace.
Not a lot of him, no. But 3 goals is a good performance.
4 goals to 2 in this final term. Jacko, have you got a score from Gisborne?
I do. It's Gisborne 10-12-72 to Castlemaine 6-8-44. 28 points the difference.
Game high 78-point lead here to Sandhurst. Inside forward 50 come the Bloods. Allen to Antonovich, who has hardly seen it today, and he curls his snap a little bit too far to the left. And a minor score for the Ron Best medalist of 2018. It's been a tough afternoon for those South Bendigo forwards, as it has much the whole team. 77 points is the lead of Sandhurst. 114 plays 37. They're going to be 5-0 at the end of round 5, the Dragons. And it's a very lofty perch on which they sit at the top of the table.
Full-time, Trentham 14-15 to Talbot 10-6. Thanks to Paul Wicks, the president of the MCD FNL. And we will be heading out to the MCD FNL and have a look at Trentham in 3 weeks' time down at Harcourt. As the final siren, she's all over here. Somebody's hit the mercy button. 17-12, 114 to 4-13, 37. Live 25, local fresh footy, a dominant display by the Dragons.
That is a statement from Sandhurst on a Saturday afternoon at Harry Trott Oval. They led by 11 points at quarter time, 22 at half time. They busted the game open with 6 goals to a scoreless South Bendigo in the third quarter. And they end up winning by 78 points, 17-12, 114 to 4-13, 37 the final score. So a dominant performance here at Harry Trott Oval from the Sandhurst Dragons. We'll try and see if we can sneak into their camp and grab some reaction as well in the aftermath. But Jason Stevens, that was a pretty powerful and impressive performance from the reigning. The third quarter was the problem today. It's the only quarter in which they're negative on the season so far. So they're 1 win, 4 losses in third quarters. And they have been outscored by a total of 48 points across the season from 4 games. So it's that's a little bit of a work on for South coming out of half-time. And for the Dragons, I mean, it all looks pretty positive at the moment. They go into the week off, Johnny, in a very, very good spot.
Oh, yeah. Look, I don't know why I doubted them before the game, Joel. It probably wasn't that. It was more so that...
I think as a caller, sometimes you barrack for the story a little bit.
Yeah, do.
The story would have been today that South come away with a win, and that would have been, really terrific. Unfortunately, from the neutral supporters' perspective, that wasn't the case. But, gee, that was an impressive Sandhurst performance.
Yeah, and look, the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game, which feels like a lifetime ago now, Jason, we thought, boy, oh boy, the Bloods are here to play, and it just didn't culminate from there. The known ball winners from previous weeks, all through the middle of the ground, just really struggled. Crisp was capitalising. I remember calling him for the first... even into that last quarter before he started to go a little bit quiet. But he was winning tap after tap after tap. But it was just being swooped on by the midfield of Sandhurst. And, of course, we spoke about the lack of supply to Antonowitz and Harvey. The amount of times, in particular, Harvey got it just dumped on his head, and he got crunched a number of times. So he must have went away 7 days ago. He had silver service, and the world seemed rosy. And then all of a sudden, 7 days later, they come up against a midfield that's really crushed them, and his supply's been literally just suffocated.
Yeah, it has, and it's it's scary, as I mentioned before, from a competition standpoint. Another level that Sandhurst could potentially go to as well. So they seem to be starting games relatively slow, Sandhurst, which is a little bit of a concern for the rest of the competition. If they put the foot down from the start, the results could get even more lopsided. So they're a talented group. I think from the South Bendigo point of view, as we highlighted in the call, they are missing a little bit of cattle out there as well at the moment. But they are coming together still as a group. There's a lot of new faces in that group, so it's going to take a little bit of time. There's going to be a few matches like this that probably don't go to the way that they anticipated. They'll be disappointed tonight, surely, though, after lowering their colours to that extent on their home ground.
Graham Wright Memorial Cup's been presented to Cooper Smith and the Dragons, so they'll take that for a fifth consecutive win over South Bendigo, dating back to that 2022 elimination final now for Sandhurst over the Bloods. Just repeating that final score, 17-12, 1-14 to 4-13-37. And Gisborne winners down at Gardner Reserve this afternoon as well. So they were the two results in the books in Bendigo footy today. 3 goals to Matt Wilkinson, 3 goals to Tom Campbell. So he's only one behind Caden Antonovich in the Ron Best medal tally for the course of the season.